It's my duty to please the booty.
And Muzz got mad at me, the coach said, he goes, Jesus Christ, why don't you just wear 2 nines? And I went, okay.
I'll switch the call.
Please never do that.
Yep. So.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 493 of Spittin Chiclets, presented by Pink Whitney from our friends at New Amsterdam Vodka here in the old Barstool Sports podcast family. Chiclets gang, what is up? The playoffs are finally here. And you know what, Biz? This is actually the most wonderful time of year. Never mind Christmas, so let's dive right into it. Biz Nasty, how's it going, buddy? I do.
Holy hell, game. We got playoff Rear Admiral, ladies and gentlemen, high stepping out of the gate with the fog machine, the laser light show. Hey,
it is Christmas. It is Christmas right now.
I am fucking fired up. Obviously not as fired up after your bees spanked my Toronto Maple Leafs. We won't dive into that quite yet, but where the fuck is William Nylander, folks?
Where is he, Biz?
It ain't where's Waldo anymore.
Did he stay in Florida, Biz?
I think he might have went to 11 after game 82 to celebrate a full year of health, and he must have pulled a back muscle in the back room, the champagne room, as the kids are calling it. That's my only fucking explanation at this point, and I've used every resource in my phone, okay? I never call in favors either. I never snoop around. I never ask about nothing.
What did you send in the DM, Biz? What was your DM?
It's the crackhead comments, the crackheads, the Redditors, and all the Leafs fans in there digging up the fucking tinfoil hat conspiracy theorists. They are saying that Keefe was so disgusted by his game in 82 in Tampa Bay. I watched the game. We had it on the TNT broadcast. He was fucking the dog the entire game. Now,
the clip of the high stick and him not touching the puck was
buddy,
what was happening?
Well,
there,
people
dude?
are saying, "Oh, if he touches it, that it gets blown down." It's like it's not just that. He just fucks the dog on a line change back to the bench, and when he just curls and doesn't go after the guy who touches it and who ends up zipping that pass, fucking all the way up to the far blue line, you're not clogging up that lane. It's the C's part for him. So. All in all, 82 was a debacle. Then you get Keefe's fucking post-game comments saying like, hey, listen, obviously that's not the typical Willie we're used to seeing, but I think that's just him telling us he's sick of regular season hockey. To then miss the first fucking game of play. He hasn't missed a game due to health since 2016. He missed, I think, a few in 2021, 22 to COVID. And I said we were going to talk about it later, and all of a sudden it just fucking hooked me right in, and I'm talking fucking bees and Leafs right off the hop.
Too. You're foaming at the mouth. You're a Leafs junkie that just can't get his fix because they stink.
But they do the milk cartons, the missing guy. Where the fuck is William Nylander?
And what about McMatthews? McMatthews too. No McMatthews.
I know that hurts too.
That was like I think.
Is he froze?
Oh, no. Did we get frozen Wit? Oh, folks, rarely does Wit's...
We got a Whitsicle. He's frozen.
There must be a storm going on at Wit's house, or maybe the kids unplugged it. You could keep going, all right? Oh, we lost Wit. He's gone now. But we can keep rolling. He'll just chime right in.
Biz, ironically, I believe Willie was the only Maple Leaf to play all 82 games this year, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, he's done it the past few years, RA. It's a mystery. I don't have any answers. I'm sorry for taking up the oxygen at the start of the podcast, but I believe that's probably the number one question mark in the hockey world right now is where the fuck is William Nylander?
Yeah, I think maybe because the plays we just talked about, the high stick, and then when somebody was scuffling near the bench, he just kind of looked at him. I mean, maybe he was hurt. Maybe that's not why he was that engaged.
There's no way that if he had any part of a bumper bruise on him that he would have been playing in game 81 or 82. You're talking about the play in Florida where I don't know if it was John Tavares or someone close to their bench was getting into it with Matthew Tkachuk. And he didn't bother stopping by. Yes, he looked disinterested. He looked disinterested probably the last 5 to 6 games of the season compared to what he'd been doing at the start of the year. I don't think he had a goal in his last 10 or 11 regular season games, right? So probably not the ideal time to go on a cold streak. But then you see the lack of effort, which to me doesn't tell me you're playoff ready. It's brutal, horrible body language. But because it's Willie, we can all kind of laugh about it and say, Slick Willie, the handsome, good-looking guy who put up 99 points, who got a big contract. Let's just wait for last year's playoff Willie. Well, he wasn't even in the fucking game. So bit of a problem there. And what's so bizarro, Land, about it, RA, is the fact that he played 82. Day of, all of a sudden, William Nylander's questionable. And then the day after the game, the next like morning or early afternoon when they had their skate around, he's back on the ice for the optional. Like nothing fucking happened. So I don't know if this was this like hangover type thing where they lost him in Florida. Like did he go to the strip club and then maybe take the wrong drink, and the next thing you know, he went on this fucking 48-hour excursion where they couldn't find William Nylander, and then voila. Listen, I don't know or care what happened, RA, but if we get last year's playoff Willie, then the Toronto Maple Leafs will get back in this series. So absolutely. I'll leave it at that. We could talk more about the game breakdown when we get there, but that wasn't even the first one to kick us off. The Carolina Islanders one was, you guys had the FDNY NYPD broadcast. It was tremendous. I was viewing from my phone as I was watching that first game. Great job by everyone. We're going to talk about that whole thing at the whole FDNY NYPD broadcast, the 50th anniversary, at the back part of the podcast, because we're going to have a ton of people to thank, including the Game Notes guys, Dave Portnoy, who's done so much for the police department, given the Jonathan Diller situation, the horrible incident that happened in New York a few weeks ago where he was senselessly shot. So a tremendous job by everybody on the Barstool side, and we appreciate if you came here to hear about that off the hop, that you wait till the back end so we can give it the proper flowers it deserves. So bravo, couple clicks to you too, Rear, G, all the people in the back, and of course the firefighters and cops who put on a hell of a show. So I'm going to send it back over to you, RA, for the Carolina Hurricanes and Islanders tee-up, if you want to go through that, and then send it right back over, because I have some thoughts on not only the series, but an interesting game one.
Real quick, RA, and before we dive into all the hockey, the game review segments, new sponsor, it's now presented by ESPN. If you didn't know, ABC and ESPN Plus are home to the Stanley Cup Final this year. Our Bees looking to bounce back after being eliminated in round one last year, despite having the best regular season in NHL history. None of that matters anymore. Predators, Panthers, Canucks, Jets, all looking for their first Stanley Cup in franchise history. And as we know, like I said, the Stanley Cup playoffs and final on ESPN, ABC, and ESPN Plus. Let's dive into it.
Yeah, because the Islanders-Carolina game looked like a doozy of a game. We didn't see too much of it down in New York, but Freddie Anderson, man, just continues the stellar play. His numbers toward the end of the year, he was like 9-1 with like a 1.36 goals against, 3 shutouts. Just a stellar performance, but do you think the Islanders can hang for this whole series based on the one game? I mean, they were in it late till the third period.
Witty Wi-Fi's. Witty, what happened there, buddy? I had to hold the fort. I'm sure these people are sick of hearing my fucking voice at this point. Now, did you find William Nylander while you were gone?
Boys, I do not know where he is still. He was not my host. Thank God, because he's not a bad-looking guy and my wife's home. But I'll tell you, boys, I had restarted my computer. Right before we started, and then it just died. So now I'm kind of panicking. This thing's one of those Monster Max. And then tomorrow I have career day at school for Ryder, which I already don't even know what I'm going to say. Yeah, I do a podcast with a guy named a Warthog who loves illegal substances, and another guy who's just thumping everything because he's a complete wheel and loves Raya. And then our producer's tiny wrist, but he's a great guy. And now it's like, And then how am I going to explain when my internet gets screwed up, the show can get somewhat canceled. So I'm sorry, because we were buzzing, and I still didn't find Nylander, though. I still didn't find him.
Oh, well, one good thing is that you're back. The second thing is, where the fuck is William Nylander?
What's up, guys? Whit here. Before we continue, it's New Amsterdam time. New Amsterdam's own pink lemonade-flavored vodka, Pink Whitney. And it's the time of year I keep talking about, springtime, and then we turn into summertime and nice weather out at the beach, outside at your patio, watching some playoff hockey. If you're into the NBA, watching some playoff NBA and pouring yourself a nice cold Pink Whitney. We got the big bottles, the 1.75ers. We got the little shots. You can buy those all packaged together. And you go to the bar, you can order it any which way you want. Energy drink, soda water, on the rocks, how I like it. It doesn't matter. It was flowing at the NYPD FDNY game. All these Islanders fans said they're going to crush it at their big tailgates they have before the playoff games, as they did before the fire department and the police department played. And golf season. Golf season has arrived. This is a drink for the golf course. So go down to your local liquor store, go down to your local tavern, grab some Pink Whitney, get involved, and thank you so much for supporting the brand. And thank you to New Amsterdam for creating this amazing drink. New Amsterdam's own Pink Whitney.
We're getting right into this Hurricanes
The
Islanders
Isles
series.
were buzzing, I heard, Biz.
Hey.
Frankie Borelli was going nuts when I saw him.
I would say they carried play for 55 to 60% of the game. Outshot them. I think it finished at 8 to 10 shots. Like, that's rare. Like,
He said that they had 10 shots through 2 periods. Carolina, is that true?
Carolina did. Buddy, I honestly, if I could have had a video camera of what went on in the locker room, I would have assumed Rod the Bod went in there and like flipped the table. We ended up interviewing Kuzi post game, and he's like, what was said in between periods? He's like, nothing. We knew we weren't good. We knew we were going to come out in the third and turn it on, in which they did. In the third, they took over their dominance. But hey, Islanders still got a few high danger scoring chances. I would say, like, if not for Freddie Anderson, it was the Islanders game. Okay. Let's start there. And they could have took a 2-1, 3-1 lead easily off a breakaway from Barzal. I want to say Nelson had a half breakaway. They'd missed a breakaway pass. The guy ended up like knocking it off his stick or whatever. And then, of course, the RA, I don't know if you mentioned this one yet, Noah Dobson, 10-bell save from Freddie Anderson diving across. So there was legit at least 3 goals right there. And if Islanders can't find that goal scoring, which they always seem to have a problem, even with their high-end guys, like Barzal, I love him to death. I think he's a great skater. I think he makes great plays, but you got to fucking come through in the clutch there. Those are the moments in which playoff players are made.
Yes. So these are the things that I have to ask about. One, you mentioned Kuznetsov doing a little press conference. My dad, who's a very opinionated man on certain players in the NHL, has always hated Kuznetsov. He hated his bird celebration. He's old school, a little bit of a boomer. And he said that in the interview after, they asked Kuznetsov about Anderson's stellar play, and he said, that's what he's paid to do. Is that true? Like all grumpy? I said, I might have been kidding around, Dad. He said, no, he wasn't kidding. He wasn't kidding. So did he say that, though? Is that what he's paid to do?
No, okay, so time out. We asked him 4 or 5 questions. That was not one of them.
So is this a creation from the mind of Dan Whitney? He would never be able to or just make that up, but maybe it was another interview or something.
Time out. Sometimes when I'm thinking of asking my question, I completely black out and I don't hear what the other guys are asking or even what the answer is. If you roll back the whole TNT interview from on the bench after the game, I don't think he ever said that's what he's paid to do.
I'm calling him right after this
like
pod.
your dad's legit, he's probably got like a hate wall of
He
Kuznetsov
dislikes
'cause
him
he did
so much that like he just was like, this is probably what he'd say. But no, I gotta call him. I'll call him. I'll address that privately.
He did do the bird, the caw, first goal less than 2 minutes into the game. So that's probably what irritated him and gave him like PTSD from a time he did it against the Bruins or something.
Yeah, and then he's like, Rod the Bard told him he hated it, but now he doesn't mind it because I'm like, yeah. And he's like, he still probably doesn't like it though, which I was laughing at. Okay, back to Frankie Borelli, who had us over to Borelli's, the original OG restaurant, 1953, right next to the old Nassau Coliseum. But he'd had a watch party at his new restaurant in Long Beach, RA Land, from when he was at the charity game. And so he was all he had a buzz going. He was like, they should have won the game. They played so good. They outplayed him. Talked about the 10 shots of Carolina through 2. He was ranting and raving about the Palmieri miss. Oh, my God. The Palmieri wide open net. And actually, it looked like Anderson kind of kicked at his stick. And like he had I don't know if he meant to or anything, but he kicked at his stick, and it was a wide open net and off the side of the post. That was a grade A chance.
Wide open net.
The save you're talking about on Dobson was out of control. Frankie also was mentioning that Anders Lee had a defenseman beat, and he had him, and the D was kind of holding on, and Lee had the puck and ended up getting a penalty while holding the puck. And he said it was one of the worst calls he's ever seen.
Yeah. No, he took his loose hand and legitimately touched Brady Shea, and Brady Shea just blew up. And it was a bullshit call, and it shouldn't happen. And then Kuzi ends up scoring on that ensuing power play. So it was complete bullshit. Lee was disgusted. Patty Waugh looked like he was going to have a nervous breakdown. His blood pressure might have got to, I don't know what the top of the blood
Probably
pressure.
when he was going at Bruce Boudreau, his first game as a Colorado
Right.
Avalanche coach.
He was right back there. He was ready to put a fucking hole in the TV on the bench. But very resilient. They were right after that point. They ended up scoring that tying goal. It was like Carolina likes to get aggressive, right? So it was Burns and Slavin on the ice, and Burns makes the play up the wall, and the defender for the Islanders, I forget who it was, he ends up holding the blue line. Great little pinch, keeps it in, and Slavin and Burns are already going on the offense. They're ready to gallop and join the rush, which that's how they play. They play like 5 connected, and they want to really pursue the puck. Well, they leave that net front wide open, and Lee's just sitting there. And then that McLean kid, the father's the coach who played in the NHL. I think he scored over 400 goals. Is it
John McLean?
John McLean.
Dude, he used to wear the Jofa, that old school Jofa when he played.
I'm forgetting his son's first name, but
Kyle.
Curtis, right? Kyle.
Kyle McLean. Well, close enough.
I got the K right.
No, we played with Curtis McLean in the Pittsburgh Penguins system.
Okay, there you go.
And he played with the Wheeling Nailers. I played with him there, and he ended up going all the way to the NHL eventually.
He was silky, dude.
Oh, he was unbelievable. And he played with the Islanders. That was a story I told on the podcast where he was playing pregame soccer, and he had a good little start to his NHL career, even though he's a little bit like older in life. And then he popped his Achilles, and I don't think he was ever the same after that, which sucked. But to get back on track, I don't think he was even supposed to be playing in that game. I'm drawing a blank on who ended up being a scratch. I don't know if it was due to illness or maybe it was a last-second change, but he got inserted in the lineup, and he's been a spark plug for them. So
it was Peugeot.
Peugeot.
It was
Yeah.
Jean Gabriel Peugeot.
So
and that's a tough loss. He's a vet.
Yeah. So the other comment would be is I don't know what they're gonna do as far as goaltending the Islanders. I don't think Varlamov played bad at all. He had some pretty good saves of his own. Wasn't crazy about the first one. Kuzi scored on it. Sometimes it's hard to track that puck through those cross-body screens, but fuck, dude, he's in that reverse VH that Lundqvist always talks about, and like, buddy, like he's basically on a shit angle, and he goes puts it by your ear because you're not going to stand up. I don't know, man. I feel like goalies have bailed out a little bit on the fact they just want to hang it on their knees all the time. Like
and when they get beat
like
hot,
Bibby
I
fucking
think fans,
Jones.
Like when you Raya fucking hookups.
Like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, like
and
the fucking god. Kicking the pillows like the god.
the Lucy god.
Oh yeah, the Lucy icebreaker.
The Lucy breakers right here.
The nut breakers.
Get to Lucy.
Yeah, you could pop my
now.
pouch.
So here's the problem, I would say. Oh, and back to the goalies. The fans lose their mind when goalies get beat up high when they're just chilling on their knees like that.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people at home who haven't learned from Henrik Lundqvist about this style, they're like, why is he on his knees right now? That is an easy save. Now, there's so much more that goes into it that most people don't know, but I could see the frustration. The problem with me after game one is, and now we were open, we didn't get to see it, but basically hearing from you and hearing from Frankie, if the Islanders were able to play that well and the Hurricanes had the first 2 periods playing that poorly for them and they still didn't win,
yeah, that's it right
it's
there.
It's like, uh-oh.
No way this is going more than 6 games.
And I did owe all Islanders fans an apology who came at me hard. Last year, it was not in 5. It was in 6, and 2 games were OT. I still think it wasn't as close of a series as 6 with 2 games going to OT sounds, but I misspoke. I said it was 5 games last year, and it wasn't.
So the one positive sign, though, is let's say they go into game 2, right? The Islanders. If they can outplay them for at least more than half the portion of the game and squeak out a win, I'm going to be like, damn, all those meaningful games coming in the last, 12 where they had to win out to even get in, that means something. Because you're used to that muscle memory of having to win every fucking battle. Every loose puck matters. Every block shot matters. Where I'm not saying the Hurricanes fucking took it easy coming in, but they didn't have to have that type of desperation. I mean, fuck, even game 82, I know they were sitting some guys, but they went in and lost to Columbus, right?
They were winning a lot, though. To be fair, they won a ton.
That's fair. So that, to me, is the advantage that the Islanders have, where it seems like they finally kind of understood the systems that Patty Waugh has been implementing. So that's why I say all of a sudden, if you fucking take it back 1-1 and you're going back to Long Island, okay. But if you see the Hurricanes team like you did in the third period, it might even be over in 5 fucking games. But the steal of the deadline might be in Kuznetsov, because even on that second goal, he makes the entire play, whether it's on the fucking back check to get the puck, whether it's in the offensive zone staying patient to not just throw it at the net from a bad angle. Meanwhile, he fucking scored from it the first time. Ended up going low to high, and then he ends up being the D on the other side to make the play to the net. So huge game for Kuzi. Unreal post-game interview. This guy's as cool as a cucumber. He loves it. He cares, and he's happy again. Look out, NHL. Hurricanes are buzzing.
And he had a good start when he got over there. I think the realization for him that he was in the minors and then getting the deal done and getting over to a contender, he was so happy, and you saw him in the locker room. His play did slip a little bit towards the end, where you were like, I don't know, is he kind of going back to what was going on in Washington, where he didn't play well for a long time? So to see him come out early and get that,
he won
first
them game
goal,
1.
Yeah, it's like, all right, well, he's ready to go, and what a deadline acquisition, as you said. My thing for the series is that I would say whoever Carolina plays this year, they're not their only chance of winning, but their best chance of winning is a team who can just cycle in their offensive zone, the Canes defensive zone, and just wear you down. And it's the man-on-man thing where Canes fans are all pissed off that I've kind of brought it up a few too many times in their opinion. But if you can just grind them down low, then that's kind of maybe their only weakness. I'm not saying it's a big weakness, but if they're spending a ton of time in their D zone, man-on-man, that is going to be exhausting. They're so good at not allowing it to happen because of their transition game. The problem is I don't think the Islanders have a group of forwards who are going to be able to play in their end, cycle the puck, and really wear them down. Yes, in the first 2 periods,
That's
it sounded
fair.
like they did. But I don't know if they'll be able to continue it.
No, that's a great point, because we asked Martinook about the D zone and the man-on-man and how it's the catalyst to this team, and he goes, actually playing for long periods of time in the offensive zone is the catalyst to this team. And and just as aggressive as they are in the D zone with the man-on-man, I don't know if you watched fucking Orlov. Every chance he got, he was pinching in, and that F3 was supporting him. So they just keep applying pressure, and they want to keep it waves and waves and waves coming at you like a hurricane. Yeah! Coming at you like a hurricane!
You know who
Not
sings
bad.
that, Biz? You know who sings that?
No.
Neither do I.
Oh.
All right?
All right.
Were you thinking of Here I Am, Rock You Like a Hurricane? Is that
That's
the song
what I
you're
was
thinking?
doing.
That's
Was
the
that
song
what
he's
I-
singing.
That's well,
Here
it's
I
different
am,
lyrics. Yeah, that's
coming
the
like a
Scorpions.
hurricane.
No, I think it's
Scorpions.
Rock You Like a Hurricane.
Not my version.
Well, Biz comes like a
Not
hurricane.
my
so-
version.
Yeah, he
I'm the
comes
guy
out.
I
who
mean-
like sings the lyrics, but I butcher at least a few words each sentence of it. But I'm still.
But if
fucking
people
having a
get
good
the
time.
tune and get the beat, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
You got
it's
it.
the Scorpions.
You
either
got
way.
it, baby.
I mean, tied after 2, Biz. I thought the Isles very much alive early in the third. I mean, I wouldn't count them dead at all. I mean, Varlamov played a great
What
game.
if they
on the
lose
butt shot.
game 2? All
So
right.
here's the
Well, I
problem,
mean,
folks.
That's
is
my different opinion after a new game.
here's the problem. Special teams, Islanders were dog shit coming in, and the PK was actually impressive after they gave up the first one. They kind of figured it out. Weird thing, they had Pollock playing the top of the diamond on the kill, and he had like 2 or 3 blocks at the top of the diamond as a defenseman. So I don't know if that was just a weird sequence where he ended up there randomly, or
Wait,
that's
3D on the ice, him being the top, or 2D and only one's down
No,
low?
there was 2D, 2 forwards, but he ended up as the high forward, basically, 2 to 3 times. At least 2 he had blocks on. So I'm thinking like I mean, the face you're making, normally the D-man is either in front of the net or closer to the flank position. He's not at the top of the diamond as a defenseman up top. It was just bizarre. So special teams for the Hurricanes are incredible. Best in the league. I think they had the best penalty kill and like 3rd best power play. Already, you can look it up. And they also are 3rd in goals by defensemen. So they have these cannons from the point, and they filter pucks to the net, and they get that second layer of offense from the back end. So there are so many things and weapons that the Islanders did not see in game 1 from the Hurricanes. So, we're trying to sell this as a series. I think they're going to fucking rinse them the next 3. That was their
I
only
think they're
chance to
sweeping
get a
them. I
W.
think they're sweeping them.
I think at this point, yeah.
Yeah, because Carolina had the second best power play in the league at 26.9% and the best penalty kill in the league at 86.4%.
And a franchise record in least amount of shots given up per game. That's what was so shocking about the fact that they gave up 34 to the Islanders is they've averaged 26 shots given up a game this season. That's fucking impressive. So I've said enough about my wrists are sore from stroking off you Canes fans.
Last year, I would say in the first round, the most popular upset pick was the Isles over the Canes. I think a lot of people were saying they got a chance, and it was mainly with Sorokin's season being so legendary. This year, it doesn't seem to be as popular because of how dominant the Canes are and how maybe the Islanders really kind of had to grind to get in. But if they can get game 2, it's like, I know it sounds stupid, and if you, what's the adage? The series doesn't start till you lose a home game. If they go down 2-0, how are the Islanders going to beat them 4 out of 5? I think we could probably call curtains on it. But if it's 1-1, and we saw UBS electric for the FDNY NYPD game, that place will be rocking. Yes, yes, yes. So who knows? I can't wait to see who starts. I imagine you go to Sorokin, even though Varlamov they rode him down the stretch. He's that good where it's like, dude, here you go. It's a must-win game for us. Here you go, Ilya. So, second thing, Anderson could end up being if the Canes go on to win the Stanley Cup, Freddie Anderson's going to have an enormous part of it, probably right there for Conn Smythe. And maybe it turns out that the injury and the time that he had, granted a lot of it's rehab, but it ended up helping him. For a guy who has a tough time staying healthy, if he was able to recover from this injury and not get overworked through the regular season and goes on this run in April, May, and June, we may be like, wow, that actually was a good thing for him. So we'll see.
Yeah, his last 10 games with 9-1, 9-1-0 with the 1.30 goals against, a 9.51 save percentage, and 3 shutouts in his last 10 games. So,
and this is a nice little segue, RA. Why did the Leafs not re-sign him, Biz? Did we ever find out why? Did they just think he wasn't the guy or didn't want to pay him what he wanted? It was kind of a long time ago now, it feels like, but fuck, man. That guy, when he's on, is unreal.
Quite the timing to bring that up, Whit.
Well, we're going into the old horror show for you, the Boston Bruins. 1957, I believe, was the last time they beat him in the playoffs.
1959 is the last time the Leafs have beat the Boston Bruins in a playoff series. The last 3 have gone to 7, which gave me a little bit of hope. The deflation of my confidence when William Nylander didn't play game 1 drastically went down. I tried to keep it together on the panel. At this point, that was a shellacking. I know for a fact that the Toronto Maple Leafs can't win this series unless William Nylander is back healthy and playing to what we know what is William Nylander. I actually thought the start of the game, first of all, 100 hits in the game total, doubled the amount of the first game. So it was just an absolute cage match from puck drop. My one criticism maybe of the Leafs is you still have to remember what? Well, from that aspect of the physicality, I want them to play physical. I want them to match that intensity. You have to also remember there's a puck out there sometimes. That's a big problem that I had remembering in my time in the NHL, that there's
a big part of the game too.
It's a huge part of the game. That black little rubber thing that's bouncing around out there, you got to pay attention to it to some degree. And after up until that point where the fourth line for the Bees scored that goal, I was actually happy with the way that the Leafs were playing. They were playing physical, mean. I thought it was Marner at first, but that little jousting match between Domi and Brad Marchand off the opening faceoff, that got me fired up. But the minute that the Bees scored with their fourth line, boo, game over. Their fucking wires crossed. Leafs couldn't make a fucking play. They couldn't string 2 passes together. 0% on their power play, 60% on their penalty kill. I don't think it was Sammy's fault by any regards, but he wasn't himself, or at least the way he's been in the last 30 games of the season. Everything could have possibly gone wrong. The JT at second line center, and I know there was a decent amount of special teams, but I think he played 15 and a half minutes. $11 million for a guy who's going to play fucking second line at 15 and a half minutes where there's no type of sustained offensive zone pressure with him controlling the puck. It's just like that's fucked up, right? So he's the third line center. If Willie can get back to second line center, and then you got Matthews at first line center, now we're talking about the possibility of us getting back in that series. So
Biz, we missed the first half of the game, but from watching the second half and just talking to Bees fans, it sounds like Pat Maroon was buzzing out there.
Pat Maroon was everything as advertised as a Stanley Cup champion. Like, people want to make cracks. Even Jack Edwards is on, hey, friendly fire. Jack Edwards chirping him about the barrel he's got on him. He was moving around great, but he helped create that first goal.
Yeah, he's got a helper on it, yeah.
It's all the details to his game why he makes him a effective, efficient fourth liner. He's good in the offensive zone at eating it below the goal line. The wall work that he had on the first goal, getting it back to Boquist on a platter for him, right, to skate into. For him
on the first power play unit, too. Him, Shattenkirk, Danton Heinen. It's like $3 million in the first power play unit.
So Boston had only scored two or three power play goals in their last 32 attempts coming in. So the power play was cold. And Ace brought up the point on the broadcast where they actually took Marchand and McAvoy off the first unit to
Correct.
put those two guys. I actually read a couple, I read a couple tweets like leading into it too. And, you know, I take everybody's opinion seriously, especially if they're watching one specific team enough. And I remember someone saying like, yo, get Shaddy more involved in the game, and his specialty is power play. Kind of like, I guess when, like, remember when Caberlet came over when you guys won it? I feel like he was playing 50 minutes by the end, but he did help out the power play. They found some form of use for him. So great job by the coaching staff to make adjustment. And how about the Spider-Man? Jake fucking DeBrusk. You don't think that guy wants a new fucking contract?
The Leafs killer. He's a Leafs killer.
My God. I might have to kidnap him and fucking Swayman.
One big swing. The Matthews miss. He had the wide open net when Swayman tried for the poke check. I mean, it was a tough play, but I mean that would have been huge if 1-1 game.
Sure, I think that. Yes, I think that tells you it's not our night, so to speak. Like, you see that, and then they go back down and score to make it 2-0. As soon as you guys made it 2-0, RA, I'm like, this one's over. It was just like you could tell the brains were scrambled. People sent me the win-o-meter because the Leafs.
I saw that after. What the hell? Does what is the math that the Leafs are 82% win-o-meter in that game?
It's like a silly analytic measure. Real analytics people would say throw it off a cliff, but it's just funny because like you could tease people with the win-o-meter, and Toronto was at what, like 78 or 82% on it. It was all junk time nonsense in the third period when they were pressing, and Bees were like, okay, they're just keeping a tight house. But also, Swayman played incredible. Another way that Toronto can get back in this series, there may be a goaltender controversy.
Can I give you my opinion on this?
Yes, I'd love to hear it.
So I switched it up. Shocker, everyone listening. I mentioned, I don't know if it was on the show. I think it was. But I've been telling all my buddies, all my Bruins friends around here, that I would legit, this was earlier, just same rotation you've been doing every other game.
You mean since February 19th and 20th? Back-to-back games was the last time that Swayman played back-to-back. He won them both in Edmonton and Dallas.
Yep. So here. But I've changed that opinion. So now I'm going with this. And my thought process on that entire thing was like, all right, well, they tried trading Ullmark to bring in some help. They weren't able to. So you have this strength of two goalies, right? Taken up, and Ullmark's a big cap hit. You wanted to try to get rid of him. He didn't want to go anywhere. So let's use them both, right? Like let's use both strengths. But now I've switched it. Now, if I'm the Bruins, I'm playing a guy until he loses. When he loses, the other guy goes in. He's playing until he loses. And you're just all right, when I go in, if I win 3 in a row and then I lose the 4th, I got 3 games. And then it's Sway's turn, right? Or Allmark's turn. And then you just know, if we lose, we're going to other guy. Nothing personal. They're both so good that we can. There's no locker room worry. We're comfortable with everyone. Then a guy can go on a run. Swayman could win 6 in a row, right? And then but if he loses, it's Allmark's turn. And some people think it's crazy, but buddy, your strength is these two guys. And changing them every other game, as I thought would be the play, is a little too much. Because if you're winning, you're winning. But that's what I think it should turn into. We ride a guy till he
We got
loses,
a goalie controversy, don't we?
Which is it a controversy though? If they're such good buddies and they
been
both
doing
know
this-
the deal, it's not really a controversy if they're both like, all right, this is what we're doing.
I think. Listen, the term controversy is being used extremely lightly here, and of course by a Leafs fan in order to stir it up. But buddy, they have done this the last 2 months. The last 8 weeks, they've gone one guy goes, the next guy goes. One guy goes, the next guy goes. So I'm like, okay, well, how long have they been doing this? And when's the last time that this guy has played in back-to-back games? So I had our boy Jazz at TNT look it up. The good thing for Bees fans is it was in a back-to-back, or maybe it was 2 days apart, and it was against Edmonton and Dallas. Maybe it was Dallas, then Edmonton, but Sway won both of them. So at least you guys are good in that regard. But I was talking to Boosh after the game because he said on the broadcast, he goes, I'd be doing what you've been doing the last 2 months. I'd go right back to Allmark. And then Hank's in the seat, but here's the difference. Hank was used to playing 65-70. So he's the bulldog mentality. Like, if you took Hank's net away after a playoff win, he'd probably fucking murder your family because that's just how he's programmed, right? So
that's why you should have told him, as long as you don't lose, you keep the net. That's what the Bruins.
I like that what you're saying. If I was a coach, I feel like that would be a fair thing to say to both of them, where they would both agree upon. It would just be something new that they had never experienced before. Therefore, from a Toronto perspective, I'm fired up because I'm saying they haven't done this before yet, boys, in the last 2 months. Let's fucking go and take advantage of it. This guy's going to be tired.
Well, heading into last night's game, Biz, the Bruins had won 7 straight versus the Maple Leafs dating back to last season. Over that stretch, Swayman was 4-0-0 with a .961 save percentage. So I go right back to him, man. He's been owning the Leafs for the last year.
Okay, but that
give
means what?
Nylander back and kidnap
Allmark was
fucking
3-0-0? So that means
Ah.
Allmark was 3-0-0? It's like, if they won 7 in a row, 4-3, it's not that crazy to think that Swayman's play him till he wins.
Yeah.
Play
He
him
stopped
till he
35 out
loses,
of 36.
Agreed.
You know,
So, I want to make something clear because not everyone, I shouldn't say everyone, but I'm a Leafs hater, and most people listening know. I don't want them to win. I want them to lose. I don't want them to get sweep. I want them to like blow a 3-goal lead in Game 7, like in 2011, 2012, whatever that year was. I really felt for Austin Matthews not getting 70. I just wanted to make that clear. That sucked, man, and they played him those 2 games. And it just was a bummer. As a fan of hockey and an American hockey fan and this legendary goal scorer, the greatest we have in the game today, I wanted to see 70. So I was bummed out about that, and I want to let Leafs fans know, as I assume they were all bummed out, I'm with you on that. That was a kick in the dick. But to then have that be the first game and have that team look that pathetic after their nice little start. Yeah, the start was good. What were shots? 5-0, and then boom. Beecher scores a goal. Montgomery said after it was the best game Beecher's ever played as a Bruin. When was the last time you got a fourth liner playing his best game ever for a Maple Leaf? They don't ever show up.
Well, time out. I don't think fourth line is what should be criticized right now. Fair comment. When's the last time that has happened? I can't tell you. But the fourth line in the last 15 games for Leafs has been awesome. And they're the only line that scored last game to get back that goal that they gave up on that odd man rush, which we jumped into the pinch on the broadcast. You could see both ways here. Some people might say, why the fuck is Edmondson pinching on that play? Just stay back, stay within the dots, and we're all good here. But man, you're out there against the Bees' fourth line. Stay aggressive. You got them at the tops of the circles. Pressure down there. Use your momentum. Where Revo was the F3 coming back, our system is you have to be a responsible F3 and come back. So as far as the fourth line for the Bees and really the entire bottom 6, bravo. I think that it was a very underrated bottom 6 throughout the course of the entire regular season. Because you got Morgan Geekie, who's fucking awesome.
Yeah, great year.
Like he was great. Did Seattle just give him away?
Yeah, I think
I don't know how they got him.
Sign him.
He trucked somebody in the corner. He
agent.
ran somebody over in the corner when we finally got to start watching the game. remember who it
Trent
was.
Frederick, I thought he played excellent. Patty Maroon, you already mentioned it. That is it Boquist?
Yeah.
Has he been this good all year?
He's always flying. Lauko's been awesome as well. too, on
Lauko's
that
nasty.
fourth line.
So
Hey,
Back
Biz,
to
I do
beat-
have some good news about for Leafs and Leafs fans. I've been told by my friends in the production world that Austin Matthews and William Nylander will be a part of the Amazon series that's coming
I
out
don't
next
give a
season.
they wanna hear.
flying fuck.
That's what they want to hear,
I don't
G.
give a flying fuck about
When's the
your
boys coming
Amazon.
back?
No, listen,
I've also been told that the stuff that was filmed with William Nylander was incredible content, like A+.
They're still
content.
filming it right
Yeah,
now.
I
They're
mean-
down on the beach. He never went back. They stay with me in Florida.
what do they got?
boys.
Playing fucking volleyball like Ken and Barbie? Were they
I
doing
don't
the
know.
sequel already?
Movie stunk.
Listen,
But
I'm excited
Do
to
we have
see
any
what these.
rumors of the injury? Has anyone heard a thing?
I
Yeah,
haven't,
no.
other than the fact that they got in a falling out and that he got healthy scratch, which is crackhead content. No, I'm not going there. I haven't heard a thing else, but just bizarre that he would be there the next day, ready to skate and practice like nothing happened. So I don't know. We can move on from Leafs Bees unless you guys have any other questions or anything else you want to talk about.
I just want to mention Beecher. He scored on his first shot on his first playoff shift. That's pretty good shit right there, huh?
Oh,
And
yeah.
just
What
back
a
to Kyle
feeling.
McLean. He scored the only Islanders goal. That was his first shot in his first playoff game ever. So pretty cool moment for a couple guys out there. First
Fucking
time
right,
out there,
all right.
playoff game. Get one on the
Little
board.
nugget.
Hey,
there you
it keeps
go.
you in the lineup, RA.
Fucking right, it does. Also, we want to send our best wishes to Jack Edwards. Biz, you just mentioned him. He's going to be retiring at the end of the season. We've discussed his issues quite a bit on the show, and the long haul. He was fantastic at his job. I'll tell you, somebody put after Game 7 versus Montreal in 2011. They put he did that soliloquy about the British and comparing the British to the Canadians and all that shit. I went back and watched that overtime on YouTube. His call of that game was fucking masterful. Like, no matter who you root for, like, he wasn't a homer in that. He just called the game fantastic. And when he was at the peak of his game, he was as good as anyone. So, Jack, we loved you for 2 decades here. You did a hell of a job. Happy retirement.
Love
Best
you,
wishes to
Jack.
you.
Couple clicks for Jack.
Congrats.
I love
Congrats,
him.
Jack.
Made
When you have a
watching
run like
Bruins
that,
hockey
and you
fun
know what?
for a long time.
Some people, he wasn't their cup of tea, but
Yeah.
he got people talking. He got people talking either way, and
Yeah.
it just it sucks for somebody to not really know what's wrong. Like he doesn't know what happened, so that's what's such a kick in the dick for him. But I was a critic, but I could still commend him for a long career where he had a ton of Bruins fans dying for his calls of games,
yeah.
goals, and
I was
celebrations
dying for
after
him.
wins. So
Yeah.
When,
congratulations
something,
on a hell of
when
a
his
run.
homerism would come out and it would get clipped, it was like fucking Christmas morning.
His best homerism ever, and I'm sure it's on YouTube, is when Dallas was in their heyday of being madmen with Avery,
Oh,
Ott. I think Brian Sotheby was in a fight that game, and it was just it was a gong show in Boston. It was an afternoon game, and he was going at Ott, he was going at Avery, and he just went off the handle with homerism that day. So that's one you can kind of check out if you're a big
From
Jack
2011.
Edwards
They have stripped the will of its blubber.
Was that game?
No, it was versus the Carolina when they were wearing the Hartford uniforms.
Okay.
He stripped the will of its blubber. That's an all-time. Also want to wish a happy retirement to Columbus play-by-play guy Jeff Rimmer. He was the Blue Jackets guy for the last 20 years, so want to give him well wishes as well. Enjoy your retirement, Jeff.
Couple clicks.
Absolutely.
There you go. There you go.
Absolutely.
And he was there. Was he there from the beginning?
I believe so. If not, he might have been a year or two in, but he was there for 20 years. So, I think actually it would have been 2004. He might have missed the first couple of years, but he was there for 20 years. I know that for Columbus.
Blue
Did a hell
Jackets,
of a
the
job.
sneakiest, most undercover, best fan base in the league.
Yep.
Lunatics. The team hasn't done anything besides that 1 year with Torts, and they pack the building. It's a madhouse, and they're just searching for a winner. So
They
all
should
you
hire
Blue
me as the
Jackets fans-
GM.
Yeah,
I
that'd
should
be
be
great.
the GM of the Columbus Blue
We're gonna
Jackets.
bring in
The
Ty
fuck are you laughing
Masseuses
at, G?
Ty Masseuse is going to run the power play. This is Jing Jong Wing, and she loves the umbrella.
We call this the chopstick forecheck. She's going to
Jesus
teach
Christ.
that too. It's
Yeah,
a
what, they would-
split. It's a 2-1-2 split. We want you to stay aggressive on the pokey.
Oh,
Stay aggressive.
They were actually chanting CBJ at the end of the game, at that game. Like, I mean, that's
They
pretty
love their
awesome.
squad.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, that's pretty
last
good
thing
shit.
on them, and I know this is side note of playoffs, but we have so much to catch up on. unreal video of Gavin Brindley's teammates from Michigan and a bunch of friends went to his first game after he turned pro. They all had all his jerseys on from USA Hockey, Michigan, and there was one clip that really got to me. It made me a little emotional. And I was looking at it, and it was Seamus Casey. Seamus Casey, Gavin Brindley, and Jacob Fowler, the stud goalie at BC, the Canadians picked. They grew up playing together. Brindley's father coached them. I think he played down in Florida, ended up retiring there, and he started the Florida Alliance. And these three kids grew up playing together. Fowler at BC, Casey and Brindley went to Michigan, and Seamus Casey's sitting there, and he's watching his buddy in warm-ups, one of his best friends in the world. He's in the NHL. Seamus Casey will get there, too. And you could tell the kid was, like, crying a little bit, just thinking of all the memories of these kids from 8, 9 years old, growing up together, dominating, going to USA Hockey, winning World Junior, playing at Michigan. And it was just awesome to see such a close friend be that happy for a buddy, for his dream to come true. It was you can check it out. It was all over social media, but congrats to Gavin Brindley, and what a move by all his buddies to come see him. One of them was Rucker McGroarty, who's going back to school. He's not going to sign with Winnipeg, so that was kind of surprising. But it was a cool moment for three kids from Florida to really change the landscape down there based on Brindley's dad forming this team and the Florida Alliance. It was awesome.
Did we talk about Cutter Gauthier's game? He had his first NHL game, too. Did we record
I think he had an apple.
He did. He had an apple. Yeah, we haven't talked about it yet.
The villain has arrived. I cannot wait for this guy in Anaheim. Amazon better be following him around, or I ain't fucking watching. Give me Cutter Gauthier. I want the turd cutter.
All right, before we go any further, here's a few words from our friends at Body Armor. Spittin Chiclets is brought to you by Body Armor. Real hydration, real ingredients packed with electrolytes, vitamins, and nothing artificial. Body Armor has great taste and flavors like my favorite right here, strawberry banana. Also got blue raspberry and a whole bunch of other stuff. And not only do we hydrate with Body Armor, not only does Connor McDavid hydrate with Body Armor, but now the NHL will too. We're all in the same kit and caboodle over here. It's good stuff. So congrats to our friends at Body Armor on the new partnership with the NHL just in time for the playoffs. Get your Body Armor today at Walmart or a local grocery store near you. Sunday afternoon, Tampa, Florida, Battle of Florida once again, third time in the last 4 years. No surprise, went down to the wire more or less. Panthers squeezed out a 3-2 win. Well, they had a 3-1 lead. Stamkos scored late. Bobrovsky, what a fucking game he had, man. I mean, he earned his $10 million in this game alone.
Is he going to do this again, R.A.? Is he doing this again, this run?
I mean, today he was unbelievable. Vassy was very good too, but fucking Bob was sick. He was absolutely insane today.
I was very impressed right off the hop with Vasilevsky. They got that first goal, but they went to make it 2-0. He had no stick. He made an amazing save in front of the net, kicked the leg out. I was like, oh. And Vazzy, overall, and coming back from a surgery like that, you're not going to expect peak Vazzy, but he did struggle. And then it seemed the last month he found it. And that's why everyone's like, holy shit. Not only does Tampa have the pedigree, but they got their star goalie, who many people for a long time, this guy's the greatest goalie in the world, and he's rounding into form. That's what they say about soccer players. He's in form right now. I always like that. He's getting into form. And I was like, fuck, Florida got a little bit of a lead, but now he's kicking. They tie it up 1-1. All of a sudden, it's back and forth. What I noticed, though, the depth of the Panthers, which is we discussed last year, it's not. First off, it was discussing how much of Bobrovsky was just stealing games, putting on a show once he came into the Boston series. Then we talked about the bullies of the Florida Panthers in Sunrise, the worst location for an arena I've ever seen. But they beat the shit out of everyone. And then we talked about their depth. And today, I'm watching that fourth line of the Lamborghini with Ratbag Cousins. And what is it? Is it Stenlund? He's a monster. Is that his name? Stenlund? He's fucking huge. Buddy, they had 2 or 3 shifts where they had the puck in the offensive zone.
Oh, yeah. Cousins can cook.
They were cooking. And they had it 45 seconds, enough where they got a change and like a new line came on when it wasn't even the second period where the offensive zone was close to their bench. So if you're going to be able to throw out that fourth line, forget the superstars. Forget the Reinhardt with the beautiful tip on the first goal. Forget Barkov with his wizardry with the puck and how he sets guys up. Forget Kachuk, just the all-around beast he is. It's just to have a fourth line that good, that's how Vegas got it done. And Florida was all injured and all banged up. So I guess if you're looking forward to a possible CANES Panthers Eastern Conference Finals rematch, maybe that was one of the reasons they dummied them, is because they're able to be that team that can play in the offensive zone and cycle you to death.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what Carolina doesn't want. So Tampa, this series, I think it's going 7.
I said 6.
You said 6 for
I said
Florida?
6 for Florida. Florida's just too strong right now. Another thing, too, early signs that the power play is not going to slow down. Was that the best power play in the NHL all season long? I mean, you said Carolina was second, right? It had to have been fucking, what's this? Sam Reinhart might have had 50 power play goals in his own. But it's clicking on all
right here.
Tampa was first, 28.6. Tampa was first.
Oh, Tampa was first. I meant to say, I said Florida, all right?
I know, but
okay.
Tampa was first.
What was Florida's?
Yeah.
Biz, Florida was
Florida
eighth.
was 8th.
Oh,
23.5.
okay. I thought it would have been better than that, but nonetheless, it was very impressive most of the season with Reinhart. But they get 2 in the first game. The biggest question mark for me, and like I said, I got Florida in 6, was going to be their discipline coming in. Because you went back a couple of years ago, every whistle was a doggy pile, and like they want to be known as this like tough team and scrums after every whistle. I feel like maybe refs would have been a little bit of fed up of that coming in, where if it was happening too much, they just start taking guys, and then all of a sudden Florida's playing idiot hockey. Not the case. Very disciplined. Obviously, they had to be because of Tampa's power play coming in. You just said it was first overall in the league. So great job in neutralizing that, staying disciplined. And like you said, it's nothing against Coop or Cooch or what they were able to accomplish this year in Tampa Bay. It's just more so of how Florida's built. You know what? If Sergachev, I don't know who's got the healing powers, he's already skating with
I don't know how that's possible.
Yeah, Wolverine style. If he were himself and were able to be inserted in the lineup, then we'll talk about it going the distance to 7 games and Tampa having a chance. But as it sits, not a fucking chance. 6 games for the Panthers. And I know we missed saying the amount of games that the other 2 series. I had Toronto in 7. And then before that, I had Carolina originally in 6 with the Islanders. If I could change it now, I'd say 5.
I don't remember my games. I picked Toronto, and I actually made a video. I made about a 5-minute video because our picks were going on game notes just because it was Friday the day before. And I had the Bruins, and then the video was too long and grainy, so I had to make another one, and I switched it to the Leafs. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. I just saw Boston play kind of uninspired. It's kind of that sounds like more of a chirp, but just not great hockey, inconsistent hockey the last month. And I guess watching the final 2 games where maybe they were throwing it, they looked so bad. I was like, I think it's the Leafs here. I wish I could change that one, but I was on the Leafs. Then I was on the Canes. Who did I pick in Tampa, Florida? I think I picked the Panthers, if you could look that up quick. But Biz, how about this stat? In 450 minutes playing together, 5-on-5, Forsling and Barkov were on the ice together. 455 on 5 minutes. They were on the ice for 9 goals against.
Wait, you had Tampa in 7, by the way.
I had Tampa.
Ooh.
Tampa in 7.
I don't love my picks, boys. I don't necessarily love
Want
my
to redo?
I was on the way to play golf, so excited. And I guess I kind of rushed through those, so I apologize, everyone. But you know what? If I picked for your team, you're screwed either way. So Panthers fans are happy.
But I gave it to Sid because he's my boy for the Selke. But Barkov needs to be probably nominated for the Selke or maybe even win it. You said that 450 minutes this season, 5-on-5 together between him and Forsling. How many goals have they allowed?
9.
That's
crazy.
This isn't them playing against third lines either. They're playing against the world's best every night. 9 goals against. Holy fuck. Hey, couple clicks for Barkov and Forsling. Come on here.
Yeah, couple clicks. So Florida's able to they're able to come at you in waves. They're able to have a D and Ekblad's back. I don't know. Did he play before the regular season ended? I don't know if you guys could look that up, but he was injured. I know he had missed the beginning of the year with Montour, and then I think he got banged up again, but he looked good. Montour is such a great puck mover and skater. Forsling is a freak the way he moves around. He floats out on the ice. They have all the makings of a Stanley Cup winning team. So go ahead, Jim.
Wait, Ekblad's last game before the playoff game was April 2nd.
So he hadn't played before the regular season ended. Okay,
No.
So that's hard. You're hopping back into that. Now, Tampa's going to have a lot to say. Kucherov's MVP season, how dominant he was. Pasha said it on the group chat. His seam passes on the power play, like everyone knows he's doing it. And I think he's able to do it not only because of his incredible skill and his high-level vision, but he has such a rocket one-timer that you have to be that scared and ready for that it just gives him the ability. Like, if you're not a shooter, if you don't have a weapon of a shot, they're always going to be looking for the dish. But he's able to wind up, and then he just comes down and right to the last minute, like, is he shooting or passing? And he can do either. So he found point, and Bobrovsky robbed him a couple times. So, yeah, if Bob's going to play like this again, and they're going to get that depth from that fourth line, grinding out teams for minutes at a time during their shifts down low, Florida probably will end this thing in 6 games. But I think Kucherov is so dominant that he's going to be able to win a couple games. Then you never know if Vasilevsky steals a few and we get this thing to 7. And 7, as we all know, guys, is a coin flip.
Absolutely. I don't know if they're going to hold Tampa Bay to 19 shots every game either. That's a pretty good job.
But, dude, they suffocate you.
They do.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you're right. No, they'll pop off next game.
The next one up. By the way, we're going to let you know our game recaps are presented by ESPN. Gee, tell us how this came all about. In bed with ESPN finally after all these years.
ESPN came on for an ad deal with us. Can use a little highlights now in the mix, so it's going to be awesome. So tune in on the YouTube. You'll be able to see all that.
Awesome. Good stuff. Next game, Rangers Capitals. Scoreless after one. Looked like it might have been a tight one. Then Rangers ran away with it in the second. 3-1. They outscored him that period. Jimmy Vesey, man. First out
Jimmy Vesey, you mean the fucking Empire State Building getting his first playoff goal?
Well, Vesey gave him the tap in.
Did you see that dish?
Vesey gave him the tap in on a beautiful dish.
Rampy. In the most electrifying building in the world, Madison Square Gardens. This guy, he is him. That's what the kids say. He is him.
I think that's used about like McDavid and Kucherov and McKinnon.
He is him.
Fair enough. If he is him, Matt Rempe, then fuck, man. There's a lot of kids out there that think I can be him. He is him. All right, so first goal, great little cycle down low.
Tic-tac-toe, baby.
Gaudreau throws it to Vesey. Beautiful little dish over to Rempire State Building. He smacks it in. Right next shift or whatever, 45 seconds later, minute later, what did you guys think of the hit? I thought it was a hell of a forecheck and a great body check by Lafreniere.
Soft. No penalty, ball.
Dude. Capitals fans are coming. Like,
they got nothing,
very
buddy.
mean things. You're talking about my forehead and my ears and my bad hairline. Like, all I did was say it was a good forecheck and hit. Fucking hey, guys. The internet's so mean.
That's good.
So the tough thing is, right, the Capitals going into this game, they don't have Jensen and they don't have Rasmus Sandin. So you got Dylan McElrath, who was a very high pick from the Rangers, who I didn't even know was in the NHL anymore. He's playing. And then Vincent Iorio, who gets just truck stick. And I felt bad for him. You could tell his shoulder was banged up, maybe a separated shoulder, hopefully nothing too serious. But he couldn't come back to the game. But, dude, Lafreniere hits him shoulder to shoulder, and he just goes into the boards very awkwardly, and Trocheck slides it over to Panarin. And Artemi Panarin, who will be screwed out of a top 3 finals for the Hart Trophy this year, but easily could be there. He could easily be in that mix, but he won't be. He didn't score a
Get
goal.
Rangers cock out of your mouth, buddy. Holy fuck.
I've been saying to you, since you picked him to miss the playoffs like a dumb motherfucker with your big nose, I'm going to go Capitals fans mean to you. I've been saying this team is for real. It's not Fugazi, it's for real. And Panarin last year had 2 assists in 7 games against the Devils. He did nothing. And to get that monkey off your back after this crazy regular season, that is a huge relief. RA's talking about McLean and he's talking about Beecher. Yeah, first game, first goal, playoff. Well, dude, Panarin has pressure. He can't have that regular season and no-show again. Whew. I got one. It's 2-0. I don't have to think about not scoring in the playoffs anymore. I am now. He is him, you fucking idiot. And no. I'll tell you, Zibanejad, if he gets going, you are going to regret the day that you said this team was a bunch of Fugazis because they have all the makings. Trouba's fucking hard to play against down low. They got Keandre Miller joining the rush.
They're playing the fucking Hershey Bears, buddy. Pump the fucking brakes. They're playing the Hershey Bears. And if it wasn't for Lindgren shooting fucking Roman candles and lightning bolts out of his ass all season long, they'd be fucking picking a lottery pick. So pump the fucking brakes. Who got the engine running? It was Rempe, the Empire State Building. Panarin was fucking in no man's land before Rempe got them going in that second period. So he is him, Mr. fucking Wi-Fi. He's gone again, all right. He faked the Wi-Fi because I just bent him over in his own argument. Bye-bye, Woody boy. Just like you in playoffs, bitch. You're a Maple Leaf. Disappearing act. Like Nylander.
Fucking tap. I mean, Shesterkin did his job, did it well. Lindgren, I thought that second goal was a tough one, man. You got to make a save in that spot. I mean, the first one, not much you can do about. The second one, I thought that was a bit of a backbreaker biz. Cover much after that.
Well, I think you texted the chat. You're like, maybe bring in the backup, maybe bring in Kemper. I think he's earned. Yeah, that was. Yeah. Hopefully, you're not the coach, RA. That was you're gonna lose the guy in the locker room who got you there. But thankfully, Carberry, even though he's got a bald head like you, didn't make the same decisions with that noggin. And he kept him in for that. But if you throw Kemper in there and embarrass him, it just throws everything all out of whack. He's earned the right to play through that. And I didn't think it was that bad. And the game isn't that out of touch at that point. It's only 2-0. But they don't have a chicken dick's chance in hell in winning that series, so it doesn't matter anyway. I would be shocked, like legitimately shocked, if this goes beyond 5. Like chop my dick off, Lorena Bobbitt style, guarantee almost. Maybe not though, because I'm 0 for 1 on dick bets.
I think you bullied a wit too much. I think
I did.
You chased them away.
I did. Yeah, I was the big bad Bruins in this one.
What do you say? We haven't announced that guest yet. Seth Jarvis, Carolina Hurricanes young stud, absolutely one of the funniest characters in the league right now. Tons of laughs. You're going to enjoy this whether you're a Carolina fan or not, so we're going to send it over to Seth Jarvis right now. All right, before we go any further, here's a few words from our friends at DraftKings. The chase for the Stanley Cup is on. And if you're looking to light the lamp, nothing beats the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL. From the start of playoff bids all the way till the hoisting of the cup, DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered with same-game parlays, live betting, odds boost, and so much more. I've been all over the DraftKings since they got legal here in Massachusetts. It's unbelievable. I have over 10.5 overtimes in the first round. I got 3 hat tricks in one series, 50-1, all kinds of great stuff out there. Jump on it. There's so many options you just could not get back in the old school days. DraftKings, you want to download it right now. Use the code Chiclets. New customers bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. That's code Chiclets only on DraftKings. Crown is yours. All right, it's time to bring on our next guest, one of the league's funny young characters we've seen lately. The 21-year-old center was taken 13th overall by Carolina at the 2020 NHL Draft. He's currently in his third year already, where he's already set career highs in goals, assists, and points. It's great to finally welcome to the Spittin Chiclets podcast, Seth Jarvis. How goes it, my man?
Doing great, man. I'm just pumped. I'm pumped to be on here with you guys.
You a long-time listener or what?
Oh, I've been following this since in junior, and all the sandbaggers are my favorite. That's what I love most. But these are all.
How about what we did to Willie and our sandbagger with him?
I know we bug him about it all the time. How we're choking putts, him and Colsey.
Well, hey, you should have introduced him as 30 goal scorer, Seth Jarvis. Congratulations on hitting that mark, man. That's a huge accomplishment.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it is fun.
You did it against RA's Bees. Now, I think that if you put a list together of the most improved players in the National Hockey League for this season, your name would be at the top of that list. And I think that everything that's been talked about it was your off season and how much work you put in this off season into your training to come back in order to make this big leap. So what was that like? Was that a conversation at the end of last season with Rod the Bod and how you were going to take that next level? Or was that just something within you said, I need to do this?
It was something within me. I think my second year, you kind of hear that sophomore slump. I felt like I went through the sophomore slump the whole year. It was a tough one for me, just kind of grinding through that. So I left kind of with a tough taste in my mouth. So the whole summer I had that kind of motivation of I just want to go back and really shut a lot of people up. I want to prove myself right, and that's kind of what kind of motivated me through it.
Seth, it's kind of similar between your second and third seasons at Portland of WHL. You went from 39 points to 98 points in 3 fewer games. Was there any similarities between that and the Carolina experience?
Yeah, I think in junior it's a little bit like I was 16 when I put up 39. Like I was playing like 10 minutes a night. Like you're not playing a whole lot. And then the next year I got more of a chance. And I think the same kind of situation. I mean, last year I still had a lot of opportunity. I think this year I'm just taking more ownership on it and capitalizing a little bit more.
You mentioned like the jump that year, and then that was your draft year. And unfortunately, right, it was COVID, so it was all over the internet and Zoom and all that shit. That must have bummed you out. But what are your memories? Because I've been told your internet wasn't exactly phenomenal in Winnipeg during the draft.
Yeah, I was fighting a lot of stuff. I was probably best for me that I didn't have to go to a combine and show any of my. But doing the interviews over Zoom was interesting. Like you said, my Wi-Fi was awful, so I had a lot of calls that were kind of cutting in and out. I had to ask for people to repeat questions all the time, which I'm sure got annoying. But I tried my best, and I mean, when that's kind of all you can do, it's tough to sit on a laptop and talk to people all day. But I made the best of the situation.
Seth, how old were you as a kid when you sort of separated yourself from the pack? Obviously, a first-round pick, you had some skill.
Probably, I think maybe when I was like 15, I kind of felt like I was starting to figure it out. I think up until then, all my buddies growing up, we were all kind of neck and neck. And then like you stay in Winnipeg, there's only so many people to play against. And then when you kind of venture out and play tournaments, you can see how many unbelievable players there are. So it's tough to gauge, but when you I think at 15, I started playing a little more out of tournaments, playing other places and seeing where I stacked up against other competition.
Quickly about the minor hockey, I reached out on Twitter, said, hey, any of you Canes fans, if you have any questions, shoot them my way for Seth Jarvis, and that was one of them. Everybody always talks about like the GTHL or maybe what's going on in BC. What's the minor hockey situation like in Manitoba? And is there a lot of good competition coming up there and coaching? And I guess just for those who are unaware, what's it like growing up there playing minor?
It's pretty cutthroat. I mean, it's not like you see the Toronto and the Vancouver with all these skill guys. We got a little more grit and grind. We got physical kind of dirty hockey in Winnipeg. But I mean, that's why a lot of the guys that come out of there are usually pretty tough or got a little bit of grit in their game. I think it's just how everyone grew up playing.
Probably a good thing for you experiencing that, like maybe being a little bit undersized, like dealing with that type of punishment that you're going to see as you continue to go on, obviously through the WHL and higher leagues.
Oh my God. I was getting beaten to death when from the ages of like 8 to 12, 13, I was just getting dummied every night. Like, there'd be a few guys on each team that were like hitting puberty before everybody else, mowing people down.
Just full-grown beards attacking you. Hey, any names you want to call out here on the Spittin Chiclets podcast from those fuckheads in Manitoba who were chasing you around?
No, we're gonna keep them. We're gonna keep them out of this.
All right. They know who they are, and fuck them.
You're so young that like you're kind of this generation where it's changed a little bit into a year-round sport. Where Biz and I grew up, and it was season ends in March or April, skates away till September. Was for you at 12 or even younger, like 10, were you already doing the summer tournaments and the skating all week and kind of how you have to be now, unfortunately, in my mind? Was that how you approached it, where there was never really an off-season growing up?
Not at all, no.
That's awesome.
We would play you'd have like a summer team and you'd play maybe like 2 or 3 tournaments, but you'd practice once or twice a week. And then I was playing football all summer. I played a ton of football.
That's awesome.
So my parents wanted me to play other sports other than hockey, and I thank them for it because I think it made me a better athlete. And then just got my mind off of hockey. I was able to kind of decompress a little bit.
That's what it is. It's you become athletic in other ways, and then it translates to hockey in the long run. But playing those other sports, you're running around, you're dodging hits, and you're just doing different things, right?
Yeah, like I know a ton of guys like play baseball. Baseball is really popular. Football, soccer, like all those things. I don't love the hockey all year round, but like you said, it's kind of becoming one of those things you kind of have to do.
Yeah.
It's become a lot more prominent.
Do you think there's a possibility you would have played for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers if your NHL career wouldn't have worked out? Because they're on a fucking heater right now, aren't they?
Don't even get me started on my Blue Bombers. I love them to death. I don't know. I had to stop. I got to the point where I was a quarterback. I couldn't see over my O-line anymore.
Oh,
I was like, this is it.
That's a problem.
Flutie.
Yeah. I was struggling. But in my mind, when I was like 12 and 13, I was like, oh, I'm going to play in the CFL 1000%. But thankfully.
It wasn't even an NFL dream. It was just CFL.
No, I want to be a Blue Bomber legend. That was kind of my mindset. But my dad quickly made me realize he coached his high school football team, and he showed me some of the guys, and I was like, this isn't for me.
So some of the info we have gotten is that you are like diehard Winnipeg. You think it's the best city in the world. So do the guys give you a pretty hard time about that?
Oh, whenever we land, it's awful. My first year, I think we landed and it was like minus 42 with the wind chill. And I'm 19 and I'm like still pretty new on the team, so I'm not saying a whole lot. And I'm just like getting off the plane, getting screamed at by everybody, telling me how big of a shithole this place is and stuff. And we're landing in the middle of January, so like it's not doing me any favors, but I get way too much heat for it.
Were you kind of the guy that you got picked on your first couple of years? I heard that maybe you're hockey smart, but maybe that doesn't exactly translate to life smart skills. I believe the word step on
Hey,
you
who cares when you're this good? Doesn't even matter, buddy.
He goes, oh no. I go, is he a smart kid? He goes, no, he's an absolute dum-dum. But hockey sense-wise, through the charts.
Yeah, I mean, I'm working on it. I think I still get chirped to no end now, but it's fun. I bring it on myself. Like Stepper. I'm sure. I think Marty said he was talking to you guys. Those two guys gave it to me endlessly my first couple of years.
I bet. Now, what's the backstory on you loving Duke, and then why were you wearing that Harvard shirt after the Boston game after your 30th goal? Would that have to do with a bet you lost?
No. So the Duke thing, my mom played college basketball, so we watched basketball like all growing up. The March Madness was huge, and like when you're like 9 and 10, you love whatever team's winning. And in my case, Duke was always pretty good and winning, so I just kind of stuck with them. And then just so happened I ended up getting drafted here, and I didn't realize Duke was so hated down here. So I got a little bit of heat for it. And then the Harvard thing, so Jack Drury on our team went to Harvard, and he's, again, very, very smart dude. I'm on the lower end of it. So it was kind of like this running joke that I went to Harvard, and I in the local media, and they kind of ate it up. And so Jack actually graduated this summer, and they got him like a Harvard alumni shirt, and he gifted it to me as a gift. I made it cut off and wear it on my equipment every game now.
That's legendary.
And it's got the cutoff sleeves, which kind of goes into my next question. I talked to Justin Williams about this guy, Biz, and he said I had to ask him about him being the favorite for the Jersey Guy Award this year with the Hurricanes. So I think you need to explain to everyone, Seth, what is the Jersey Guy Award given for, and how do you feel about being the favorite? That's at least what Willie said to ask.
The favorite's a stretch. I don't know if we got Pesci's on a 2-year repeat right now, so he's going for a third.
Who is?
Pesci on our team.
Oh, Pesci.
It's our trainers from New Jersey. Our trainer's a nut job, Bill Burniston. So he's a diehard New Jersey guy. He's just through and through. And so he has this award that he hands out that he like picks like 5 or 6 guys, and whatever he thinks is the most New Jersey like people or whatever, he gives an award to called the Jersey Guy, and like it's like a cutoff, and then like that easy curl bar that you like put under your arms and just do this.
Oh yeah.
And so that's the award you get, but it's pretty prestigious, and I think the award ceremony is coming up here in a couple weeks.
So Biz, this is what Willie
look
said.
like you're from Jersey.
Biz, Willie said Jersey Guy Award is given out by our strength trainer every year in an awesome video presentation. Reasons to win it include playing hurt, playing hard, potentially cutting sleeves off shirts, fist pumping at the bar, etc. And right now, Seth's the favorite.
Well, right. Okay, so going back to fist pumping at the bar, you're single, right?
Yeah.
And you guys have an unreal singles crew there in Carolina. Who is your singles crew? Who do you guys go out with? Give me the names.
Well, our singles guys are just me and Sveci. So
that's all you need.
Single?
That's all you need, buddy.
Jesus, with
that
the
was like me and
accent,
Taylor
too?
Pyatt. That was like when I was hanging out with getting all the residuals from Pisey.
Exactly. I'm just sitting back door right now in Sveci's.
Have you been Burnsy Zoo at all? Does he still have the zoo in his house? Or
Well, he's still got to
collection of
talk
animals?
about the singles crew. We can't just go past it.
Just him and Spetchy said.
No, there's got to be a couple other guys, no?
Jack Drury's single. He comes out decent amount, but then like other than that, everyone's kind of got their girl.
Okay, so but does he have square wheels? Because usually those Ivy Leaguers have square wheels.
No, man, he's smarter than everybody, so he's got these mind games he can play. He can lie on the spot. Me and him.
What a great quality.
I like them.
I'm going to put that in my Raya profile. A great liar.
Yeah, he's got it all figured out.
That's unreal. Sorry, RA, go ahead.
Oh, that's right. No, I was asking about Burnsy. Does he still have a wild collection of animals? I know he's got the place out in Texas still.
Yeah, he's got his ranch out in Texas. I'm supposed to go there this summer, so we'll see if that happens. But he's got nothing here. He's got 2 big dogs, but that's about it.
Do you ever drink any of his coffee that he brings around in that bag? Are you a big coffee guy?
God, no. I've seen some guys drink it, and it's like 5 minutes, you're shitting your brains out. Like,
Really?
I don't know what he puts in that, but it's like it just immediately hits your system and just sends guys haywire.
Okay. And Clint.
It's like the NHL's Russian gas biz.
Exactly.
Burnsy's coffee.
You ever get a
so
peek,
good.
peek inside that bag of his, the mystery bag?
I could fit in that mystery bag. I can even the coffee machine. He's got ultrasound thing he sleeps with that he wears all night. Like, he came to the rink, I think yesterday. He had burns on his legs because he had the ultrasound on too long at night, and it burnt little scars in his legs. Stupid stuff like that. He's
been playing 20 years. He's still doing this shit.
I know. Well, that's why he's been playing so long.
Yeah, true.
I was watching a post game interview with Rod the Bot, and they asked him what's been your favorite part about this season, and he kind of answers it the same every year. It's just a group of guys, and you're kind of just going through guys as we talk here, and just how much camaraderie there is in that locker room, and how you guys keep adding unreal guys. What's it like going to the rink every day with this group, and how much you guys have kind of became a family?
It's so much fun. Every day, you guys understood. You're going with your best friends every day to the rink. You just go in there, you show up, everyone's going after everybody, everyone's yelling. It's so much fun. Just the energy there is every morning. Even if we had a tough stretch there earlier in the year, we were losing a bunch, and still you're losing, but you come to the rink every day, everyone's smiling, everyone's happy, everyone knows that you're going to get out of it. And I think that's just what's special about our group is there isn't a sense of panic. There's never a sense of oh, we need to win. We know what we have, and we know that when we play good, everyone's relaxed, everyone's calm, everyone's having fun.
We got to interview Aho at the All-Star game. Such a nice kid and soft-spoken. But I imagine if he is saying something in the room, it's just everyone's just eyes on, ears listening, because it can't be that often where he's speaking up to the team, right?
Yeah, he doesn't snap, does he?
He snaps on it himself. He'll snap on me sometimes, but he's getting a lot better, I think. In the 2 years I've been here or whatever, he's gotten a lot better at speaking out and being more comfortable doing it. And like you said, whenever he talks, everyone listens. He's kind of our guy. He's the best player on the team. He's our leader. So he's someone that when he's yelling, when he's really upset, something's going wrong. So it's fun to have a guy like that. And he's so competitive that anything you can do can kind of tick him off. So he has some outbursts sometimes.
How pumped are you guys when you heard Don Gensel was coming to the team?
Oh, dude, unreal. Him and Kuzi have been unbelievable additions to the team. It's been sweet. Just not only the players, obviously you guys can tell how good they are, but the guys and the way they came to our locker room immediately gelled. We had no issues, no kind of feeling out time. It felt like they've been there the whole year. Just the way they kind of came in here. Kuzi's loud, Kuzi's yelling, and then Gens is a little bit quieter, but they're both awesome.
Oh, a couple huge pickups. Now I forget who we talked to last year. Or no, it was Aho. We were asking him, who's had the hardest time adjusting to the man-on-man, and sure enough, it was Bunting, and he ain't even there anymore. So, I don't know. It must have been a really tough adjustment, but how hard was it for you coming in? Because we actually posted a clip the other game where there was a mistake made. It was in the D zone. You just so happened to get close to Pasta, where this man-on-man, does it get confusing sometimes, or do you guys have it so down pat that you got it's in the back of your mind, it's easy peasy?
Well, how dumb did I look in that clip? I left the 47 goal scorer have a breakaway on net. I just looked like an absolute...
I would have sprinted out of the zone too if I had to check up with him.
God. I thought Rod was going to punch me, but it was it's tough. I mean, there's obviously everyone's kind of switching to that more quadrant now. That Vegas one with Boston does it really well, but I think the man-on-man for the most part is easy enough when you can kind of tag on, but I think when there's switches happening, the D like to jump a lot now. So when they dive down, forwards aren't the smartest people in the world, so we get a little confused and it can kind of mess everything up. But in that clip, that's a forward not making the right read.
When you do the man-on-man, are you guys able to at least yell off switch to each other, or not even with that? Is he no, don't even do that?
Yeah, there's a lot of people yelling help all the time, which means someone come and help this guy out. So I was screaming help when walk down along the bench.
Oh man.
I think one of my
as soon as you
favorite.
get over the blue, help, 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 help.
I got pasta. Get over here, Burnsy.
Yeah.
One of the best clips of a locker room interview this season was you when your name was brought up for the All-Star game, and you're like, no, I'm going to Mexico, and I'm guessing you were 100% serious. Like, dude, I got my tickets. I do not want to go to the All-Star game, right?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, it would have been cool, but like I want to like earn it. I want to
Yeah.
like, vote it in, like how Fishy got in, like stuff like that. I feel like the fan vote, and I didn't want to get my hopes up. I didn't want to get all pumped up, like, oh my God, I might go and then get crushed because it's in Toronto. You know, they're going to send a few more Canadian teams. So I was already kind of prepared for it. But no, there was 100% a lot of truth to that I wanted to go somewhere warm. I was ready to drink beer and lay on the beach.
Okay, because someone said somewhere that maybe you don't drink, but that's obviously not true. You
That's
get
also
buckled.
a little running joke we got going on. I have fun. I pick my spots. I know when to have fun. I've learned when not to.
Oh, so you get so buckled that the inside joke is that, oh, no, he doesn't even drink.
No, but me and Marty have some fun together. So it's
Martinook?
Yeah, Marty.
Well, actually, we had him on a couple of years ago. Remember, he was put on fucking waivers by you guys.
Beginning of last season.
That was crazy for how good he's been since then. Like, Rod's got to be looking at it like, thank God nobody picked him up.
So the craziest thing is we were having a beginning of the year like team party with all the wives and everybody, and everyone's downtown, and me, Kotkaniemi and Svechnikov were like going down there. We were a little bit late, and he calls us. So we also saw he goes on waivers. He calls us and goes, "Boys, I just got picked up. I'm leaving right now." And so we start shitting ourselves. We're like, oh my God. Like, we feel so bad. Like, he's leaving. We're not going to get to see him. We're not going to get to say goodbye. Like, he just got picked up and we show up. He's hiding in the bar. He pops out. He's fucking with all of us. We all shit ourselves.
Oh,
it was
my God.
he's just stupid shit like that. He loves to get on us.
He's another spark plug in that locker room that you guys got.
What was he
Nonstop.
barking at you in that clip, the Duke one, where you were swearing back at him
About
We
the
couldn't
NC
really make
State
out.
stuff.
Yeah, he was giving it to everybody about NC State. He was wearing this NC State football jersey all day, just making sure everyone knew his Wolfpack won.
You obviously got a great personality. Have you ever had any coaches or veterans, either in the NHL or previous leagues, tell you to kind of tone it down a little, or they just let you fly?
Not really. I think Rod last year a little bit just reminded me I have to be a professional sometimes, and he knows like it's kind of who I am, and it's what makes I think being myself is what makes me play so well and being comfortable. So he understood not to take that away, but he just wanted me to make sure I know that this is a job and to focus on a little bit. But no, everyone's been so great with me. I think I came in quiet and was able to kind of open up a little bit more, and now we're here.
When you came in, obviously you had played a few games in the AHL that last year, junior, when the season ended. But were your expectations within yourself, I'm going to make this team? Or was it kind of like, I don't know what's going to happen? Like, how did that first camp go where you ended up making the team and playing that entire rookie year and kind of lighting it up for an 18-year, 19-year-old?
Yeah, I had no idea what was going on. Everyone kind of told me that this team was set and there wasn't really any spots for me. So I kind of just went into camp trying to make a good impression. I wanted to leave. If I was going to get cut, I wanted them to have to pull me out and not make it easy for them. And I just made sure every day that I showed up. And I know how much Rod loves hard work. So that was kind of the number one thing on my mind was I might not be as skilled as everybody else out here, but I'm going to work twice as hard and just see where that gets me.
Who do you think you have the most to thank or the most thanks for in terms of who you are as a player? Like, was it a coach growing up? Was it your father, a sibling? Like, who was your biggest maybe role model within the game?
God, I could list probably 100.
That's probably why you're so good, dude. You're lucky you got that many people.
Yeah, I think all through different stages. Like my dad, when I was really young, he knew nothing about hockey, so he was on YouTube showing me how to shoot and stuff like that.
No shit.
He would sit in the backyard and like pull up how to take a wrist shot and then just show me, and we try to learn together. Little stuff like that. Like he spent a ton of time with me, and then getting older, like you get into junior, I had Mike Johnson, who was in Pittsburgh. I don't know if you had him when he was in Pittsburgh.
No, he was after me, but yeah, guys, he coached Portland too, didn't he?
Yeah, so that's where he was with them, and he was great for me. I had him and Don Hay, who were two kind of polar opposite coaches, but was unbelievable experience for me. And then right when I got to the NHL, Derek Stepan, like you guys mentioned, him, Martinuk has been unbelievable for me. Paul Stastny, another guy, like just guys like that older guys. I came in, I wasn't saying any words. I was just kind of sitting off to the side, minding my own business, and they pulled me in and really took, like Stepper especially, took me under my wing, took me under his wing, and just like anything I needed, he was there for me on the ice, off the ice. He was just someone that I owe a lot to.
You said Don Hay. He's the pretty intense coach who used to coach in Vancouver for the Giants as well.
Yeah.
I heard he's like a drill sergeant.
Yeah. So like I got him near the end where he couldn't do some of the crazy stuff, but I've heard of him breaking players' wrists with his stick. Like,
that's not good. Can't do that. It's frowned upon.
Can't quite do that anymore. He would just shoot, like we would do every practice. We would do a blocking shot drill, and he would just wire pucks at us. And like we're 16 blocking shots, and like you miss one, he's screaming at you. So it was fun.
Just letting out his frustration. So I also read that your father, and you talk, I don't know if you mentioned it earlier when you said you liked playing football growing up. Your father played at the University of North Dakota.
Yeah. He had a quick little stint there.
But it was actually your brother who got you into hockey, not your father.
Yeah, my brother, my older brother Caden, he played hockey before me, so he kind of went through everything first, and led me the whole way. He's my skills trainer in the summer, so we spent a lot of time together. He's out in Vancouver with the Giants right now. He's their skills coach, so he's working his way up the ranks. But he's another guy that I forgot to mention that I owe so much to. Just someone that not only a role model in my life, that I always wanted to be him. Like no matter what, until I was probably 17, I wanted to be my older brother. And then just the way he's able to be with me in the summer now, he's the only one that knows how to push my buttons and really get me going. If he knows I'm having a slow day, he's on me pretty good. So it's exactly what I need, especially during the summer.
Well, so at what age did he get you going? Like, I mean, you might have already mentioned it earlier, but at what age did he get you into hockey? Like,
I was probably 4. He would have been 10. And so I just wanted to play with him. Like, I just wanted to be on the ice with him, hang out with him. So I was 4 years old. Him and his buddies were 10. We lived right beside an outdoor rink. So I'd be out there all the time with them. They would be giving me hell. That's probably where the toughness started. Was I was getting hit from behind by my brother and his buddies for fucking 12 years. But I just wanted to hang out with him. And he's kind of what led me into everything.
That's awesome hearing that. And with him being your skills coach in the summer, he's obviously watching all the Canes games. Is he kind of texting you after games about certain plays, certain maybe moves you did, or is it not really like that? Like we've talked to guys who use Adam Oates and they're going over clips and stuff like that. Is he doing that with you, or maybe just in the summertime?
He does a good job. He kind of waits for me to reach out. He knows that. Like earlier in the season, I reached out a little bit just because I wasn't feeling great and wondering what was going on, and that's when he helped me out. But he does a good job at he's not bombarding me with anything. He's not sending me clips or advice. He knows how I kind of deal with myself, and he knows that if he thinks I played bad, I think I played way worse. So he does a good job at just kind of staying off to the side unless I reach out for help.
So I'm pretty intrigued. So like, as far as these skills you're talking about, like obviously now with the way the NHL is, a lot of guys have to work on these things in the off season. You see like all the pylons set up. They're doing shit that we never used to do. We had Alex Tuck on where he worked with a power skater where he basically reconfigured his stride where he could skate faster with the puck. What is it exactly that you're doing in the off season, like skill specific? Like what type of drills are you doing that has advanced you?
I think the most stuff I've been doing is like just more focused on little details of stuff I figured out I do a lot in games. Like I do a ton of stuff with rims and picking up rims in the offensive zone, defensive zone.
That's a good one, actually. It's harder than people think.
Oh, like if like no one understands, like if you're a winger and you're catching a hot rim and a D's pinching down on you, being able to make any kind of play, like you're going to get yourself 10 more second assists because you're bumping out to a 2-on-1 and stuff like that. So just little details like that, and just being able to extend the play in the O-zone when you can pick up a rim on the wall and keep moving and make plays out of it.
I say this all the time. One of the most fascinating things about Kucherov is when it gets rimmed around, he like it touches his blade, and next thing you know, it's on his forehand, and he's making a play within a split second, even on his backhand for him. So that, like you just said, is just like that's kind of what Adam Oates was talking about. Like even for defensemen, like just constantly doing retrievals and getting used to that. Because in a game, how many times is a puck being dumped in your corner? So interesting to know. Aside from that, anything else? Anything out of the ordinary?
The biggest thing in the last couple of years I've worked on is doing everything on my backhand. Is being like, you see guys like Patrick Kane, who has an unbelievable backhand. Sidney Crosby has an unbelievable backhand. So being able to like skate up the ice, and if I'm on my backhand, make a cross ice pass and not have to move to my forehand, just to make things a little bit quicker, be able to move the puck a little bit faster and get it into other guys' hands.
That's weird. Coaches always told me to stay off my backhand.
They said you stay off the ice. You bring up that like maybe at the beginning of the year you weren't like thrilled with how you were playing, and you've kind of just taken off. Was that more kind of like the whole team was a little down at the beginning of the year and everyone picked it up? Like, what do you think you were not doing that kind of finally switched up to get you on this roll you're on now?
Yeah, I think the team as a whole, we weren't great. We were winning games, but we weren't winning how we kind of wanted to. We were kind of just squeaking by, especially against teams we thought maybe we should do a little bit better against. But I mean, it's the NHL, so like everyone's good. You're playing against a good team every night, but it's just the way we were winning. We kind of knew we were just getting by and not dominating like how we were kind of used to. So, and for me personally, it was just a matter of being able to be more effective on the ice. I wasn't looking at my points necessarily. I was looking at kind of more just creating chances. I feel like when you're creating more chances, the points are going to come. But I felt like there's a lot of times where I'd end up in a game, I'd maybe have one shot and like I really didn't do anything. And so stuff like that just kind of edged our weight on me a little bit, and that's where my brother kind of came and helped me out.
Freddie Anderson coming back. That was another huge shot at the arm for you guys as well.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
He's been unbelievable since.
He's like, what, 8-0-1 or 8-1 right now since coming back. He's been just incredible. It's kind of crazy, actually.
Willie also wanted me to ask you about playing pickleball with Jeannie Bouchard.
Oh.
I don't know if this went bad for you. I don't know how this went. He goes, you got to
She's
ask
beautiful.
her, though.
She's beautiful. I actually got her number in my phone.
Oh, Jesus.
No, we're friends. We're friends. I met her at, or no, maybe it's not the number. Maybe she followed me on Instagram.
You did
maybe that's what it was.
Sportsnet thing with her.
Yeah. But we're buddies. But when did you play pickleball with her?
The other day, actually, they had like their pickleball tour or something, made a stop and rally. So we, a few of us went out there and played. And yeah, we got like a little pro-am celebrity thing, and it was me and Jessie something, I forget her name. I should probably know that. And then Jeannie Bouchard and Cockney Emmy. We played a little 2-on-2. I've played pickleball. That was my second time ever. And so I was just getting absolutely throttled by everyone out there.
You were?
But like I got one clip. I got like I played like this. I was just whacking it like that. Got 1 point. And I feel like I was at Wimbledon. I put my hands up and turned around like I was in Wimbledon. I was in like this tiny like 400 seat park and rally, but it felt so cool for like 5 seconds.
Was it sold out? Were people there watching?
Yeah, it was actually it was packed, and it was like a pretty good event, but not way more than I was expecting for pickleball.
Do you have a celebrity crush? Like, do you have a girl that if you could ever get a date with, you'd pick? Maybe like who's the girl with the big jammers now? The Sweeney? Sydney Sweeney?
That's always a pick. Yeah, you can always go that route. I mean, I don't know. There's a ton. I couldn't even.
No.
You can't put me on the spot like that. I got to do some Instagram deep diving before I can make a decision.
One of the other guys was saying they were impressed with your ability where you can take a nap and fall asleep anywhere at any time.
Mm-hmm. It's one of my specialties, actually. Yeah.
Cool. That's it. You just like if you could just fall asleep anywhere. Take a couple breaths, boom, close your eyes, and you're out.
Yeah, but I can't sleep at night, which is my biggest problem. So it's kind of like a give and take. So I'll sleep a lot during I'll probably after this take a nice 2-hour nap, wake up, eat dinner, and then be up until 3 in the morning. But
I was gonna ask, being a single guy, like I remember when I was in the NHL, I was out to dinner every night, right, at home or the road. Are you going out to restaurants? You getting maybe a chef once in a while? What's the meal situation at home?
Yeah, a lot of going out, a lot of Uber Eats. It's definitely not cost efficient, but I mean I can't cook, so I'm kind of like hosed that way. I go to places a little bit, so that saves me a couple bucks. But like, yeah, I'm pretty well known around this area in a lot of the restaurants.
Lunch every day at the rink, though. You guys get the chef like every team does.
Yeah, but you get sick of the rink food sometimes. So you go to the restaurant again, and it keeps adding up a little bit.
Well, speaking of adding up, apparently you and Gensel are just all over each other. Like, who's going to take the hometown discount? Who's going to take the hometown discount? Like, how are the contract discussions coming along?
I don't know. He gives me a ton of shit for no reason. It's crazy. He comes
and he's the new guy.
I know, and like he's acting like he's not going to be asking for like $11 million or whatever.
Oh, he ain't fucking getting it at Carolina, those cheap fucks. You ain't getting shit either, buddy. You better slow down on that Uber Eats.
It's like the Bergeron rule. No one's getting above Aho.
Yeah,
Exactly.
You better start fucking learning how
Montreal's
to
going to
cook.
send him to an offer sheet to pay back for Kotkaniemi.
You're going to be eating ramen noodles with the contract you're getting. How cheap that team is.
Find craft dinner and start stocking up for a cold winter.
You're going to be signing a bridge deal for league men. Yeah, 30 goals. What?
How do you kill your downtime, Seth? TV, movie guy, cards, whatever else.
Sleep, man. I have to.
Where's the me?
Golf a decent amount. We're getting nice weather now, so we can get out a little bit more. But yeah, that's kind of it. I'm not doing a whole lot.
Brady Shea's a problem on the golf course, I heard.
Yeah, Brady. Yeah, I hate him because he's like good at everything. He's good looking. It's like
That's what Hazy said. He goes, it drives me crazy.
Stupid. No one should be that good at everything.
One of the Carolina Hurricanes fans asked about the beef with Brent Burns' son. What's going on there?
Yeah, his son Jagger he's an awesome kid. He's hilarious, and me and him, we're like he's what 9 years younger than me, so we're not crazy different, and we have probably the same like mental age,
Same height.
Yeah, so we go toe to toe a lot, and like I'm over there a lot for dinner, so I've been around him enough that me and him we've had some good battles, and it's just fun to mess with him.
You got a unique nickname in the locker room? Or was it just Javi, like the Y at the end?
I got like 500 nicknames, and I don't know how many you want me to say on here, but it's right now Brady Shea calls me Ton of Fun.
That's a great one to have, though.
Yeah, well, it's because he thinks I'm fat, so that's kind of the behind it. But that's the one that's kind of sticking right now that I can't seem to escape.
Who would you deem as the most underappreciated player on your team? Like who's the unsung hero of the Carolina Hurricanes so far this year?
This year, I mean, Shazy again. He's having another sneaky. Like he's got to have maybe 15 goals already. Like he's doing great. Pesci's another one that's unbelievable on the back end. I don't think gets talked about enough. Forward wise, like we have so many guys that just do so many little things that make such a big difference. Like they might not put up a ton of points, but like just like killing penalties, blocking shots, like you hear it all the time. The stuff that wins championships. I feel like we have a bunch of guys that kind of just dig in and put their ego aside and do those things for us.
Is Rod somebody maybe calling out a guy at intermission by name, like right in front of everyone, or would that be more a one-on-one meeting after the game or at intermission or something like that?
For the most part, it's after. There's not a ton of that. There's been a few times, but that's only if you really messed up. And but yeah, for the most part, he does a good job at kind of keeping it away from the team and addressing it individually.
We heard after you get out of the hot tub, there's some remnants of some green stuff in there. What's that all
Yeah,
about?
they're blaming you for staining the hot tub water.
Well, I got this cream on my legs that I use for games, and it's tough to get off. I shower, and they, not anymore. That was more last year than anything. Now I'm cleaning up. I've got
this is following you, bro.
I know. I can't get rid of it. I can't get away from it. I got to lean into it now, but it's it's better now. I'm keeping it tight.
What's the special cream that you used to use? Like I used to put the deep cold on my legs. That's how everybody, the old stretch in a bottle, as we used to call it. You know, a couple Sudafeds, couple Advil, and then Gil deep cold. Get it out.
Yeah, a few Sudafeds, and then it's like I don't really know what it is actually. I think it's supposed to like slow down the lactic acid buildup in your legs, but don't quote me on that because I don't know if that's allowed. So maybe it's not.
You used this and then scored and then just kept using it.
Yeah, someone handed it to me in a bottle. I was like, oh, nice, but it feels good. I mean, it leaves a little remnants in the hot tub, but everyone's adults; they can grow up.
I feel like this year the league is finally starting to maybe take notice and show the respect that Necas deserves. Like I watch your guys' games. Overtime, it's out of this world, but he's so good, and it's finally starting to kind of everyone's becoming aware of how nasty that guy is. Like I feel like you could tell me if I'm wrong, but this is like a 40-goal guy in his future, like 80, 90-point guy, I would think.
You nailed it on the head. Like I think he's probably the most skilled on our team, like individually skilled.
No shit.
Like the stuff he does, like if you like everyone makes fun of him for it, but I think he triangles people, like puts it under their stick and goes around them 15 times a game. And like sometimes it's unnecessary, like there's no reason to do it, but he just does it for fun. But it is so cool, some of the stuff he can do out there, and like he does it so fast. Like his skating's incredible, his hands, like everything, the way he operates is has all the makings of, like you said, a 40 goal, 90 point guy.
Probably when he gets going, the fastest player on your team, right?
Oh, no, most definitely.
Yeah,
when he winds it up, he just starts. It's crazy.
Kind of like on the defensive side of the puck with Slavin and how he's such a wet blanket. That must suck going one-on-one on that guy in practice. His ability to close on guys is stupid.
It's crazy. He's like a sneaky fast skater. Like it's not pretty. Like some guys are pretty skaters. He's not the prettiest skater, but oh my God, is he fast? And it's just like he's running out there, and he just like you said, closes the gap. He's got probably the best hand-eye coordination knockdown stick I've ever seen. Like if you try to flip anything by him like sauce, it's just knockdown, makes it look so easy.
Yeah, he does do that a lot.
The Lidstrom did that to me at the Joe Louis. Didn't see a shift after it. No, I'm dead serious. And Jans always used to practice it in practice after to try to get good at not only like a cross-site saucer pass, but if you were going one-on-one and you crossed the red line, if you could even get it on Lidstrom, he would bat it down every time and boom, would be going back the other way. He was just, you talked about the hand-eye, just disgusting.
It's demoralizing.
It is. Very.
The clip last year went a little viral of Slavin pivoting and then staying with McDavid. That's when I think everyone started being like, what the fuck? Like every other defenseman's getting walked, and I think even McDavid was shocked. Like, how is this guy still with me? That's the first time I was like, oh my God. Because you're right, it doesn't look super fluid, and it's not like Makar, but he's always right in your face and never getting beat. So I think he's finally getting his flowers too the past few seasons.
I hope so, yeah. He deserves it. He's an unbelievable dude too, so it makes all sense.
Yeah. Seth, I know they don't do the storm surge every game, but have you let it, and how does that like get determined? Do they talk about it before the game, like during, if the game's wrapped up? Like take us through the whole storm surge aspect.
Yeah, we haven't, since I've been here, we haven't really done any special ones. We like throw some stuff out like into the crowd sometimes, but usually if it's focused on anyone, they'll determine it like right in the circle right at that time. Usually Marty does a pretty good job at picking somebody, but for the most part, it's been pretty calm. Like I think our last home game, we were shooting like shirts and towels into the stands, but that was kind of it. There hasn't been like any like the Holyfield or any bowling or basketball, anything like that.
I read an article too when you were a kid. You had something called a mind map that your parents found, I guess, when you were moving, or they taking your clothes out of someone. Could you describe what that is? I never heard of that before.
He looks like confused, like it doesn't exist.
Yeah, what was that word?
It said it was a whiteboard. It was described as a mind map that you had NHL circled. I never heard of that before.
Yeah, I was probably like 9 and probably watched some motivational video on like YouTube or something and thought it was the coolest thing ever. So I made like a little board of, just basically goals. I guess you could say like a goal sheet or whatever. And I think the only goal on there was make the NHL, so I didn't really have much going on.
Or the Blue Bombers QB.
Yeah, exactly. One of the Blue Bomber hope. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's only make the NHL, and then I think I wrote every NHL team's name on there or whatever. But
they're going to start calling you Uncle Rico on the team from Napoleon Dynamite, just cocking back with the arm. Oh, my God. Well, boys, that was great. Do you have any more, RA?
Yeah, I was going to Svechnikov, another Michigan now. How's that play in the room? The guys have fun with it, bust his balls.
Well, he's calling it Jarvis is calling it the Svechnikov now.
Right?
No, well, it's yeah. I think last night was the cleanest one I think I've seen him do. Like just a matter of him, like he didn't really lose stride skating around the net and be able to pick it up, and no one really knew it went in except for him off the back bar and out. But everyone expects it from him. He's another guy that's so skilled that.
Can you do that easy? I don't get how nowadays all you young guys, it used to be you like the original Mike Legg Michigan, he went down and picked it up, but now like Svechnikov, it's just while moving somehow. How do you guys do that?
They move the toe to the ice and it just kind of rides up the stick.
Have you tried it in a game?
I would throw that thing to the neutral zone if I tried that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wouldn't even. Rod would have pinned me to the bench for the rest of the year if I even attempted to. I've thought about it, but I don't have the balls to do like Svechi. If he misses, he's like, whatever. No, you can't tell him anything. So he kind of just goes on about his business. But yeah, if if a lot of other guys did that, they would catch an earful.
Hey, once you sign your extension next year, you should try it. When you get back to the bench, tell Rod, you go, hey, you're stuck with me now, motherfucker.
8 years minimum. I don't think he's gonna let me do the.
That's true. Yeah, hometown discount. You should be able to do whatever the fuck you want out there. Yeah, that's awesome.
Well, Seth, thank you so much, dude. It's a pleasure to watch you play, man. You play with heart and passion, and it's a Western leaguer. That's who you are, I'd say. That's what Bedard was saying last year about Vegas winning the cup. So good luck in the playoffs, dude. Hopefully we can get a sandbag with you one time. We'd love to do that, and we appreciate you coming on the show.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. This has been great.
Our pleasure.
You're a legend.
Take care, buddy.
All right, guys, before we go any farther, today we are talking about Kraken, one of the OG crypto platforms. These guys have been around way, way, way longer than the hockey team, for over a decade, in fact. And Kraken's world-class security is like having an all-star goalie protecting your assets 24/7. It gives you peace of mind when it comes to trading, which is very, very important. With over 190 cryptocurrencies available, there's something for everyone here. Biz, Wit, RA, and even myself. Or maybe you're just looking for new ways to approach crypto. The Kraken Learn Center is an awesome educational resource for all experience levels. So join the 10 million clients already using Kraken's intuitive platform to buy crypto. Go to kraken.com/chiclets. That's kraken.com/chiclets and see what crypto can be. Not investment advice. Crypto trading involves risk of loss.
Big thanks to Seth for jumping on us. The kid is an absolute character. Huge crack up, man. I hope he's around the league for a long time. But anyways, after we sent it to him, we watched the night games tonight so we could come out, give you the freshest news of the day. Colorado, Winnipeg, Nashville, Vancouver, and I'm going to preview Vegas, Dallas. Ooh.
Colorado, Winnipeg. Woo!
Oh,
Barn burner.
Big time barn
I'm going to get a noise complaint this late. Barn burner.
Absolutely. Well, your boy Jazz, unreal stat. First 4 games, there were 20 goals, Biz, in 240 minutes. There were 13 in the 60 minutes in that game tonight. Just a absolute wild take of a game. We didn't even do our picks on it yet. I had Winnipeg in 6. Biz, who would you like on this one?
I'm going to go through all 4 of mine so far, the series that we've covered. Canes and Isles, obviously I have Canes in 6. Toronto over Boston in 7. Florida over Tampa in 6. And then Rangers over Caps. They ain't the Fugazis in this one. They're the forealzies in 5. If it even goes that
over
far.
The Bears, you mean?
The Hershey Bears, correct. Yes. Ooh. That lineup is not going to get it done against the Rangers. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the series we've done so far, I got Carolina in 5, which I actually like right now. I have, what was our next series there, fellas? Oh, I got the Leafs in 7. Hate that pick. Jesus, what the hell was I thinking? Then I had the Rangers in 5, which I still kind of love that. That could be a sweep. And then the last one in the East would be Florida-Tampa. I have Tampa in 7. So that's definitely a possibility.
You might go 3 for 8 in the first round.
Last year I went 8 for 8. So I'm kind of really hanging my hat on being the champ last year. So I know you didn't remember that as you threw that chirp out, you dopey motherfucker. So I know. I don't right now, looking around.
Oh, Woody Wi-Fi's buzzing now.
I'm not comfortable. I'm not happy with my picks, and it's all because of your Leafs. I don't know what I was thinking. All right, you go through yours.
All right, I got Carolina in 6, Tampa Bay in 7. I'm going to laugh at this one. Washington in 7, and Boston in 5. So far, so good on that one.
Gee, who you got?
What about you, G?
I got Carolina in 4, Boston in 7, Rangers in 5, and then Tampa in 7, and that's the one I don't feel too confident about.
All right,
you always don't feel confident.
All right,
did
you just take Washington because you said like originally you're not afraid of the Rangers, so you're just trying to say like the Rangers are a joke?
No, I took it because I got that huge bomber on Washington, so I gotta sort of have to root for Washington.
What's your ticket?
The futures.
75 to 1.
400,000 to 1.
150 to 1.
Okay, that's a lot of juice. That's a lot of juice.
Yeah, I mean, it's enough to root for. Plus, I like to fuck with Rangers fans a little bit once in a while, too. So.
Oh, you think?
Just
but
a
boys,
wee bit.
We got to move on to this game, the most crazy game so far in the first round. First of all, Winnipeg and the fans, that building and that exterior of the building where they got everybody lined up between those, it was fucking insane. and they came out fucking pretty guns a-blazing. I mean, didn't they? I guess they gave up the first goal, but once they got theirs, they were ready to roll after that.
Even then, though, they ended up going down 3-2, that McKinnon snipe. But back to the crowd outside. 1993, we've been over this, the last Canadian Stanley Cup winner. But there is some sort of, and I'm an American, but there is some sort of magic and feeling you get when the playoffs start in Canada that's a little bit different. It really is. And it's out in Edmonton, and it's right outside the arena and the street in Winnipeg. That looks like a time and a half. I was actually thinking, because we're going to be at the finals. We're going to be at both cities in the finals, no matter what. And I was like, Winnipeg would be a time.
Oh my God,
it would be a time seeing those guys on a run.
City.
Oh, and then Canada just cares so much, and they just want a cup so bad. And the first game in Canada, you're always like, oh. And then Vancouver hadn't had a game since 2015. So starting off in Winnipeg with the whiteout, with the crowd. The crowd that I think I mentioned last week that was called out earlier this year, and about fans not necessarily showing up the way that you think they would be, but they were ready to go tonight, dude. Oh, and Nichushkin, he shut him up quick. Tough turnover, kind of bad. Actually, it wasn't a bit tough turnover. It was a horrible change by the two defensemen. And Manson throws it up to him, and dink, and I was like, oh my God. This is it. Is Colorado going to come up? Boom. Winnipeg. And can we talk about Adam Lowry? Army texted the chain. Adam Lowry, when it gets best on best, is Canada's fourth line center. I don't hate that call as of right now. Now, he just had two, and he just dummied Rantanen for one of the goals and walked McKinnon. I'm like, okay, Adam Lowry, Team Canada. I see this happening.
After he scored his first one, he gave it the goal signal, too. There's a great photo of it online, but he definitely got them going. I felt like that game was played in fast forward. It just felt so much faster where every shift, it didn't matter which line from either team took control of the puck. It just seems like they were going in overdrive. And I tell you what, man, I don't get to watch that Kyle Connor enough. He's not the biggest guy as far as like thickness, but he wins a shit ton of fucking puck battles, man. He is an absolute water bug gamer in the offensive zone. So they are... I mean, as far as the depth's concerned, that was one thing I felt that they had over the Avs coming into this one. And we've already broken down this series, but a lot of people and with strong opinions kind of laughed at us at the fact that I took the Jets. But an underappreciated back end. Morrissey was a guy we didn't mention in the breakdowns. Obviously huge in the point department. Some people were a little critical of maybe where his defensive game had gotten towards the back half of the season, but he comes up with that huge goal. So, buddy, that Dylan, he's a fucking beast on the back end. Obviously not Hellebuck's best, but if he's got to play against they're calling him Forgiev because he's giving up at least four goals a game.
And then the backup, is it Anunin? How do I say his name?
He didn't dress tonight. Actually, this guy, Arvid Holm.
I know. How do I say his name?
Yeah.
How do I say his name?
Anunin.
I think people know what we're trying to say. He was sick. So I was like, why are they not pulling this guy? 10 shots, 4 goals. Like,
Forgiev.
Forgiev. And it turns out they basically had an e-bug in there. No offense to whoever the backup was, but they weren't willing to give him a go, even after Forgiev was just sucking him in. And that game, it goes back to the deadline and Merles, who fumbled his insider information saying Jake Allen was going to the Avs. McFarland didn't really address it. And now you're like, holy shit, dude. It's been a struggle for a while now, and I tweeted out pull Georgiev, and a bunch of people were like, because then he caught fire and he made some big saves right after that.
Second.
And people are like, oh yeah, good call. Look at him now. Well, buddy, he sucked in a few more. So it's like I don't know what you're gonna do, and I think the whole premise on Avs fans who didn't think they needed a goal. It was like, this team's fine. It doesn't really matter. Almost looking at Vegas with Aiden Hill, even though he played great, we're fine no matter what. It's like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
Well, unless he turns this around, which I don't see happening.
So in their last cup run, I felt like they were built where they could outscore their problems, where they had Darcy Kemper. If you go back to his numbers, he had an average goals against average, and then his save percentage was 900. So it was nothing special. So they were able to get that second, third layer of offense where, listen, obviously they can score at a premium now still, but they're not going to outscore their problems anymore the way that they're playing in their own end. They were abysmal at the amount of breakdowns and fucking heavy chances they were giving up. I don't care who the fuck you are. You could be the 84 Oilers, for fuck's sakes. You ain't going to outscore those types of problems in your own end. So not the Avs I was expecting. They don't have that goalie who's going to make the big stop right now. So if I'm their coaching staff and I'm their leadership group, I'm saying, boys, we need to sacrifice a little bit of the offense right now to tighten things up defensively, because this is going to be a quick fucking series if they don't. And that's just how they can roll 4 lines, Whitty.
So that's what Lowry brought up after in the press conference. He said, we just got to our depth, and that's our biggest strength is our depth and rolling 4 lines and being able to play his line against the top line. Then you open up Connor and you open up Scheifele. And as much as Pierre-Luc Dubois has gotten shit this year for his effort with the Kings, enough credit probably hasn't been given to Velarde. And he had 2 gross assists in this game. He slid that one over to Scheifele. Scheifele right away is pointing at him. He's like, that was an awesome. And then his other one, I'm kind of fumble fucking right now. Who was other?
There's a lot of goals. There's a lot of
exactly.
goals.
There's a lot of goals, but basically Lowry bringing up the depth. It's like, oh my God. It's like it's hard to picture. And now Druin, when we did the preview, we didn't know Druin was out. So that's a skill guy who's able to play with McKinnon. So it's just one of those things where you're looking at a heavy team. Like you brought up the D. I think Sandberg had a tough turnover on the Miles Wood goal, but a heavy team with big D, and they got this home ice crazy advantage. Now, saying that, and with this big win, the Avs didn't play like bad. I mean, the shot differential was huge. Some of that was at the end. They got the power play at the end. They were able to come back and somewhat make it a game. I mean, there was 30 seconds left when they made it 7-6. But if you're able to get to Colorado and knowing that if there's any traffic, even without traffic, some of those goals, if Forgiev's going to be sucking them in, Winnipeg's got to feel great, because they got it the same way I said that Carolina had a weak showing for them and won. Well, dude, Winnipeg won with Hellebuck not playing great. Like,
that's the thing right there.
Buddy. Next game, you don't think he's going to be pissed off after giving up 6?
He's going to be kicking.
Man, you got Makar, you got McKinnon and Shushkin and Rantanen, but after Rantanen was just, oh my God, Lowry made him his bitch on that play. And it's one play, but yeah, you got some superstar talent in Colorado that Winnipeg can't match. But when you go down the lineup, buddy, and that's playoff hockey, it's kind of a mismatch. And you saw it in game 1. So I love what you're saying about Kyle Connor, dude. He gets his shot off
the Shermanator.
The Shermanator.
Just that fire bush buzzing out there.
Shermanator was my waiter at a restaurant in LA one time, like
Come on,
5
the
years
actual
ago. I was
one?
like, oh shit. Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe I'm imagining before. He was my waiter. I don't know if it was a long time ago or somewhat recent. Gee, were you with me? Was it West Coast Wagon Tour?
I don't know. I have heard the Shermanator is a waiter
Yeah.
in LA, though. That's like on the record.
I think I remember this in the group text. Now, wait, you're forgetting the biggest factor of it all going into this series. The bulletin board material, which is the Fugazi of the West. The fraud.
Hey, so my source,
the
Biz,
fraud squad, as they're calling them now.
I sent the tweet. I think it was John Liu who said that Nikolai Ehlers brought up, like, yeah, that guy who told Ryan Whitney we're frauds. We're using that as bulletin board material. Now, I'm guessing John Liu brought it up to him, unless like they're already talking about it. And I sent that dude. I sent him the tweet, and he goes, "You can never ever let anyone know who I am." I go, "Yeah, dude, no shit. You'll never play again in this thing." I go, they'll be fucking Winston from Winnipeg. He'll send you anthrax in the mail. Peggy from the Peg, she'll put this little mink. She'll put up nice little hot pictures, DM you looking for a little meetup, and then show up and stab you in the throat.
Oh yeah.
So
I might take her down when we're there for the Cup Finals.
And I
Peggy
also
from
said,
the Peg.
buddy, what are you talking about with these guys as frauds? Are you watching this team? So yeah,
I think
mean,
that player
amazing
realizes. I think that player realizes that this job ain't easy. Throwing out these hot takes and having to eat them once in a while ain't easy. Right, all right?
Not at all, bud. Not at all. Just to go back to the game, man. I mean, this game like epitomized the disparity in the goaltending biz. I mean, Colorado had exactly 2 times as many shots as Winnipeg did, 46-23. And it was interesting. There were 6 goals in the first, only 1 in the second, then 6 more in the third. And your boy Nemestikov got one. Did you catch that?
Oh, Nemestikov!
It was a turnover, though. I think Manson threw it to the middle, hit a stick, goes right to him. Yeah, I guess, Biz, that's what you're saying. Some different plays where you're like, this doesn't seem like. But I just think with Colorado's pace, this series is far from over. It's just that, dude, without a goalie, you're nothing in this league.
And back to tonight's backup with Arvid Holm, his name is. He's a 25-year-old Swede. He's never had an NHL start, regular season or playoffs. And ironically, he was Winnipeg's 6th-round draft pick back in 2017. Now he's backing up the opposite team. So I don't know if we're going to see him or not. He's never played, but I would have thrown him out there tonight after the way Georgiev was going. So
Morrissey. Just, he gets that beautiful shot in to tie it up quick there, and then he gives the apple over to Kyle Connor. And just the way he kind of controls the tempo. I kind of use that term for a lot of defensemen, and so it's probably me using it too much, but it's slowing down the pace when you have it. And it's like you're able to see the ice so well that you're able to kind of know exactly what you're going to do with it before you get it. That's him. And I don't think I certainly didn't see this offensive outburst he's had these past few years. I guess it makes sense seeing how well he passes the puck and running that power play. But the Jets, dude, they ain't no frauds.
No.
They ain't no frauds.
not at all. Not at all. The other game tonight, Nashville, Vancouver, kind of the opposite of the first game. Not a ton of shots, a lot of great goaltending. Vancouver ended up winning it 4-2. They got the empty netter to seal it late. What most impressed you about Vancouver tonight, and what was the difference in the game?
Not much impressed me until that 12-second out. I was like, what is going on? There was just, and the crowd was great. They brought back U2, Where the Streets Have No Name, the entrance song that they played for quite a while, including the run that they had in 2011. And that was my favorite song growing up. Still to this day, one of my favorite songs. And so I remember loving that. But they brought that back. They're getting all the mojo. Somebody broke the news they were wearing the black unis, which they ended up not doing, which I do not love the blue and green. I've never been.
I'm over them. I think
I
they
thought
had
that
their
they would
era.
be going black with the matte black helmets every home game this playoff. So I was surprised because somebody said that. I don't know. I saw it on Twitter somewhere, but they come out. I thought both teams early looked a little bit, not flat, maybe nervous. They were just kind of, there wasn't much pace to the game. Biz said to the group right away, he goes, this looks like it's in slow motion compared to what we just watched. So all of a sudden, though, they're able to get, like, Quinn Hughes getting that shot through. I thought it was tipped. Maybe it hit a Nashville defender, but boom, they come alive. And then Dakota Joshua, who was the guy we've mentioned all season long with this Vancouver turnaround. He gets 3 points. He gets that third goal, the game-winning goal, and then he ends up getting the empty netter. He's just a big old dude. He'll play physical. He'll fight. He goes to the net. It's like that's the type of playoff player that they need, and he showed up big time. Now, Biz Garland, too. I saw you tweet
the
that.
water bug.
Oh,
He looks like he did back in Arizona, where he was hungry again and trying to establish himself in the league. This is a guy who asked for a trade at the start of the year. And Dakota Joshua was a guy who got called out in training camp by Talk. So between these two guys, they've become part of like the whole heart and soul of the team.
What did he say about him? They just
I don't think he was happy with how he'd prepared himself in the summer to come in and dominate, to take that next step. I don't think he was as physical and using his body as well as he would have hoped early in the season. And Talk, when I say call out, it wasn't like he like ripped him to shreds. I think he said he was disappointed in what his expectations were and how he was going to come in to kind of take control of that role. And throughout the course of the season, he's done it. And from all the messages I'm getting, like Vancouver Canucks fans are basically saying, outside of the obvious, these two guys have become the heartbeat of the team. When they needed to play most tonight, it seemed like Garland was getting it done, even in the first two periods when they were brutal. Because I felt in the first two periods they were undisciplined. They couldn't really execute plays. I felt like Petey was soft on his feet. He wasn't as strong. He seems to fall over quite a bit and getting maybe a little bit too out-muscled. I thought Miller had some outbursts. I
thought he looked good. I thought he looked
shifts where you were like, okay, he's got his spunk. But overall, I think that the depth, and that was the one key that I had coming into the series when I've talked to a few people, whether it was local radio or this or that, was I thought that throughout the season between Dakota Joshua, Mikheyev, Lafferty, Garland. They had Hoglander. All these guys hit double digits in goals. So I think that these guys can be a huge factor, and that's where they outweigh Nashville, in my opinion, outside of Nashville's top guys. Obviously, the factor's going to get it done. And why you have to stay disciplined against this Nashville team is since the FU2 tour, they've had one of the hottest, if not the hottest power play in the league from that time. So stay out of the box, and you're going to stay out of trouble. But the third period, to me, for Vancouver, looked much like Carolina Hurricanes figuring it out after playing sloppy for the first two against the New York Islanders. It kind of they look uncharacteristic, maybe backed themselves into playoffs a little too much, where finally they got back to their game in that third period. And if I'm a Canucks fan, feel a lot more relieved after seeing that effort after what I'd seen in the first 40. So especially to get Lindholm going too with that first goal, which was a kind of an uncharacteristic goal for Saros to let up that far out. It was a bit of a squeaker, but overall, the fact that Vancouver got that first win, 0 for 13 in franchise history, the Nashville Predators are in series that they don't get the first win in the first game. So if they drop the first game, that's a tough stat. I think there's no way Vancouver loses a series now that they got game one.
I like that you brought up Lindholm because not only did he get that goal, but he was the guy in on the forecheck on the winning goal, right? He goes in, eliminates the man, and then Garland sneaks in, makes a beautiful pass to Joshua. So that's nice to see him going because offensively, he did struggle ever since he got over there. The broadcast mentioned he had 5 points in his last 6 regular season games, but I think only like 12, 13 points in the time he's been there. So not much in his game, but he looked real good. Peterson. I don't know. Now, I got Canucks. I tweeted out, is he playing tonight? I don't think I heard his name. He had a one-timer on the power play that just whistled over the crossbar. Other than that, dude, I don't know if I heard his name. And I looked at his game log. He's got 1 goal in his last 14 games. And so a bunch of Vancouver Canucks fans messaged me, no, he's injured. Well, then I had somebody reach out and say, he's not injured. He's not injured. And he's just playing like shit. So I don't know, right? I don't know the truth. I'm not in that locker room. They have no chance. Like, maybe they could advance without him going. Even then, it's going to be tough. They have no chance of doing anything without him. I mean, buddy, the beginning of the year, the run he's on, he signs the deal. You think then it was like, oh, I'm going to play that good. I'm going to get this deal. And then all the pressure's off. I mean, it seemed like it was so much better with the pressure on to produce his UFA season. And now, like you mentioned, just like kind of a shell of himself. And when he's involved and he's like, because there's a lot of times, and he's a skinnier guy, but he's also like, he'll get in the mix. He'll throw his body around almost when he has the puck, the way he protects the puck, cold shoulders. There was none of that tonight. So I don't really know what's going on with his game, but I was shocked to see that game out of him tonight, and they were able to get the win, so it's good. And maybe talking to him and trying to figure out what's going on, but with anyone, best players in the world, fourth liners, East Coast League players, confidence, you lose it, it's hard to get back. Doesn't matter how good you are. Maybe that's the case for him right now, so they got to get him going. But I like JT Miller's game a lot. But overall, it was that depth. It was the depth that they used, right? To Joshua, Garland, Lindholm's playing a little bit down on that third line. Couple stupid penalties though, and they were kind of like all pretty decent calls by the ref. The DiGiuseppe, his trip late in the third, it was just kind of stuff. You're like, buddy, you're in the offensive zone. There's no reason to take any coach will ever tell you an offensive zone penalty 200 feet from your net, like a stick infraction. It's like, It's just so unnecessary. So they were lucky to get that win. Got to shout out that save by Demko early in the first. Question marks about him. Thought he ended up having a real good game. The Zucker goal was a little odd. Maybe thought it was kind of similar to Lindholm's. Like, looked like he kind of should have had that one. But, dude, that save, you're like, whew. Any question marks about Demko? He just kind of shut everyone up with that, post-to-post save.
You pumped, or we all pumped the Winnipeg crowd. I think given the maybe the energy on the ice in the first 2 periods, I thought Canucks fans did a good job of keeping the energy high in that building. They were excited for that first game. The anthem, them taking over the anthem and belting it all out. It was really cool to see, and a well-deserved first playoff game at home, you said, since 2015?
Yeah, and also they went down 1-0, and the crowd kind of like as the puck was dropping for the face-off, they got going again, like almost it's all right, like
good.
Which sometimes in some of these cities you're like, here we go, but I think they just hadn't had playoff hockey in so long. The crowd got behind them, which is nice to see in Canada, especially where sometimes it gets ugly. If Toronto goes down 1-0 early in Game 3, they ain't cheering as the face-off getting dropped. So. I love seeing Vancouver back in the mix. They get a win that I thought was at least going to be going to overtime once they tied it up. RA had a nice little bet for me, Biz. He said, look at this bet. Over under 10.5 games that go to overtime in the first round. He had already bet it, so I was like, wow, no shit. And I looked up. Last year had 14. So I took it with him. We don't have one yet, but kind of an interesting bet, RA. At least you got something to root for when they go to OT.
Yeah,
or I do now, and you do as well.
Yeah, and I got that. I have that other one too. It's if there's exactly 3 hat tricks in one series, because the odds are wicked crazy, like between 50 and 1 and like 101. So if one series has 3 different hat tricks, Biz, nice little payout.
Oh, it was any series? I thought it was Winnipeg, Colorado.
No, it was specific series. So I have 8 bets for each one for each series.
If you didn't get a hat trick in that game.
Yeah,
if you didn't get a hat trick in the Winnipeg, Colorado game tonight, that series isn't getting 3.
But the thing is,
if I got it has to be exactly 3. It makes it even more impossible.
Well, that's why, it pays out 100 to 1. As far as Nashville, I thought because they looked tired late. I thought they got pretty sloppy. A couple of those goals, not Saros' fault at all. I mean, shooting gallery out front, a little pizza action, but I think Saros will bounce back a bit. There were only 43 combined shots in this game. Like we said, not a very highly offensive output in this game, but see how Nashville bounces back. What did you have in this series? Because we didn't get to this one last episode.
I got Vancouver in 7.
Okay. Gee, what did you have, buddy?
I had Vancouver in 6, and I'm still very confident about it.
Okay.
I had Van in 7.
And I have Van in 7 as well, so see what happens there. We got another preview to get to. Vegas, Dallas. This is going to be an unreal series. Basically, 2 cup contenders going at it. They've each beaten each other in a conference final the last few years, so this is sort of a rubber match. Dallas is a -140 favorite. Vegas 100 to make 120. During the season, Vegas went 3-0 versus them. Dallas 0-1-2. Dallas, great power play, 6th in the league. Penalty killing, 8th in the league. Vegas, 20th power play in the league, 16th penalty killing. I don't know if we're going to see Hill or Thompson Biz versus Ottinger, but Dallas, I mean, they seem like they're going to be a steamroll, but the defending champs, man, I don't think they're going to lay over for anybody.
So I have Dallas in 7 games. This is going to be a big boy hockey series. The reason I have Dallas is the goaltending situation for Vegas. I don't think it's as stable as last year, and that's saying a lot because it wasn't very fucking stable even last year. But of course, we know what to expect from the Vegas Golden Knights. Game 1, Mark Stone's going to be coming out of the tunnel. He's going to be ready to go. They got Pietrangelo as well back in the lineup. So they have basically their full team with Hurdle now in the mix. So they got that strength down the middle. They got an unreal top 9. They got that big, heavy back end, but not the goaltending I believe that they're going to see from last year. Dallas, I feel like we've been talking about them in all the pods leading up. You know exactly what to expect from them. They have 2 first lines and then 2 third lines, in my opinion. They don't even have a 4th line. That's how good they are up front. One of the deepest teams we've seen in a long time. I even view them deeper than Florida in the East. And then we saw what they did with the back end at the deadline, bringing in Tanev. I didn't think they had any issues even before that. Heiskanen's an absolute beast. And right now, Ottinger's playing out of his fucking mind. I don't know if you saw that last game of the season with that fucking paddle save he made. Everything is going his way. I got the Dallas Stars in 7. I don't need to be long-winded about this at all.
So I got Dallas in 6. But now that I know everyone's back, I made that pick. All of a sudden, Stone's coming back. So now it's 2 years in a row. Stone's left the regular season at the exact same time. He started skating at the exact same time, and he's been ready for game 1. It's amazing. I will once again reiterate, as much as I hate Vegas, don't blame them. They are doing nothing wrong. They are going by what you're allowed to do based on the CBA and in the league. So anyone who hates them like me, at least don't call them cheaters because they're not. They're doing it. They're not. they're not breaking any rules.
Oh, sorry.
It's not a rule that I
Had something
agree
in my
with,
throat.
and it's a rule that I think that needs to be addressed. But it is what it is. Okay. Now, Hurdle hasn't played in the playoffs in a long time. Last time he did, granted, it was like 5 or 6 years ago, San Jose, he was a beast. You know, he's chomping at the bit. Okay. I like Dallas in 6 because even with Vegas, all these guys coming back, like Petro, you don't know how healthy he is. If he's even like, is he definitely playing? Have they already
Yes.
said that?
My understanding is he's in.
So, you know, if he's going, obviously he's good enough to start game 1, but it does mean he's battling something. Stone last year, you wondered what he'd have after back surgery. He was great. So I guess the spleen thing will be nothing for him. But Stevenson playing where he's at. Marchessault's last year, his Conn Smythe year, and then the fucking 40 goals he got this year. It is an amazing team. Okay, Thompson and Hill this year, they're pretty even. I think you could go with either one. I mean, Thompson's never played a playoff game. That's what's shocking to me. Oh, I saw a tweet that's crazy. So every year Vegas has made the playoffs, Pete DeBoer has been involved.
Yeah.
The first 2 years they played San Jose, he was the coach. Then he was the coach of Vegas, and then now they're playing him as he's the coach of Dallas. So that's kind of funny, but it's going to be a war, dude. It's going to be a battle. It's two big teams. I just think that the way Vegas ran through the playoffs, out-muscling everyone, the huge defensemen they have, Dallas can play that game. Like, this isn't a team that's, like, going to be really intimidated by them. They're able to play down low with them. So it's like Edmonton got super lucky. The path that my Oilers got, it was a miracle. It took an absolute miracle for Vegas to lose to Anaheim and then LA to come back late and beat Chicago. For us not to have to face Vegas, that's a nice sign. But now Vegas, Dallas, you almost feel bad for the Stars. I mean, this year they had, it was something else. But you said it. The fourth line is a legit fourth line. I know you're saying maybe not, but Faska, Dodonov, though, he was injured for a long time, so he's got a lot of skill in that fourth line. Then Sam Steele, but those other three lines, dude, all of them are considered first lines. The other stat I saw online, since Crosby and Ovi were rookies, they're 2 and 3 in goals in the playoffs since then. You know who number 1 is? Number 1 in playoff goals since 2005, 2006.
Great guess, RA.
Joe Pavelski.
Wow.
Joe fucking Pavelski playing with Jason Robertson, playing with Rupe Hintz, and then they're coming at you with Duchesne. Then they're coming at you with Marchand, Mason Marchand on that line. Marchment, excuse me.
No, it's
Marchment.
okay.
I should have said his name correctly. That's on me. And then that third line with the 2 young bucks and the grandfather Jamie Benn sitting right shotgun with them. So it's amazing to see. Sagan had a pretty good season. I can't wait to see this series, how it unfolds. You know there's going to be some shenanigans after the whistles. So it's going to be interesting, but I think Dallas gets it done in 6. I think they're too good. And like you said, Ottinger, dude. One of the other reasons nobody talked about Dallas that much this year is because they were doing what was expected of them to be done. Like all year, they were just playing good hockey. And then Ottinger struggled a little. Okay. Well, now he figured it out. So it's been a great hockey team from October to now. And let's see if they can continue because they got their toughest test in the first round, possibly.
And my theory is that neither of these teams will reach the finals because they're going to take so much wind out of each other's sails. It's just going to be so big, so physical. I mean, even go back to a few years ago, wasn't it Jamie Benn who ended up whacking Mark Stone wasn't that the situation that happened where Jamie Benn ended up getting a sussy?
Was that against Stone?
I thought it was.
No, last year they played in the Western Conference Finals. Did it happen then?
I thought it was maybe a couple years ago that it happened where the wires had crossed. So maybe I'm wrong. You Dallas Stars fans can correct me because you usually do. I think the X factor in this series though is going to be the glass banger at home.
Oh,
that's good. I don't know what hookers he's bringing, riding shotgun there on the glass, but if he's not banging as hard as he can bang and distracting Vegas's goaltenders, I don't know. This actually could go Vegas's way. That was
in the conference final last year.
Okay.
Ejected from Game 3 and then suspended for cross-check on Mark Stone. So, yeah, the glass banger, dude. I mean, the amount of blow that guy must be on at those games. Like, fuck off, glass banger. Take a height.
Hey, so you're saying maybe he could be a liability?
RA's like, DM me.
Are we going to Dallas for the playoffs, guys?
I'll suck your dick. I'll
Wait,
suck your dick for a bag of blow, baby.
Pavelski's going to turn 40 over the summer. You think that any possibility this might be a swan song? Like this could be his last season? And
If they win the
I
cup,
ain't fucking speculating Pavelski rumors on retirement right
I
now.
don't, Roma, I'm just.
Isn't he
that's not a
signed?
rumor,
Did
just
he
asking
sign
a question.
again?
He's doesn't have any years signed after this season.
Really?
So yeah, he's
Yeah,
don't know if
1
it's a-
year deal
yeah.
this year for 3.5. Dude, it could be a Ray Bork special. Hand him over the cup first, Jamie Benn, and then just skate off into the sunset. That would be an amazing. That would probably lock up the Hall of Fame for Joe Pavelski.
Well, I don't know. He's American, so we know they don't like Americans up there.
But
Gee.
Hall of Fame.
Gee, who do you got in the series, buddy?
I said it on game notes, but I got Vegas in 7.
Ooh.
I just feel like this Vegas team is just built for a playoff run. You guys kind of said it all. I mean, heavy on defense, tons of depth, and it sucks for Dallas. Like, I don't think Dallas is going to win the cup if they do advance because Vegas is just going to beat them down so much. But I just love Vegas. I can't bet against the former champs. I don't know what it is. It's almost impossible to repeat. But betting against the former champs, I just can't do it. So
I mean,
I got Vegas in 7.
If we go to Vegas for the finals, Merles is going to get a divorce.
And then we have to go back there for the draft, dude.
Yeah, that's like,
Like, don't do that to me. No.
Jesus Christ.
No.
All right.
Yeah. I got Dallas in 7 as well. I don't think they really have an Achilles heel on that team. Like the goaltender, the D, the forwards, they're pretty well stacked. I don't think they have a real major weakness that can be exposed, but we will see what happens.
We'll end it with this. I think it's probably the most exciting first-round matchup that everyone's looking forward to.
Wait, your boys up next, Edmonton. This is the 10th overall meeting between the two teams. 3rd year in a row, Edmonton beat them in the first round 4-3, then the next year 4-2. Edmonton minus 190 favorite, LA 100 to make 160. During the regular season, Edmonton 3-1-0 versus them. LA was 1-2-1. Any concerns with Edmonton going into this series with goaltending? D, you feeling confident about your boys here or what?
I feel very confident. You're looking, and we're talking about the best hockey team in the National League since November, okay? Now, I made the biggest mistake of my life, and I never did quit them. I kept watching, but I publicly said I did. And I've renounced that a million different ways, a million different times, as there's many Oilers fans who won't take me back. But there's a lot who took me back with open arms. And they know that this is finally the year, guys. Like I said, the path worked out perfect, okay? We're able to get LA. We own LA. 7 games 2 years ago, 6 games last year. I have them in 5 games this year, okay? And then we're moving on, and we're going to fucking pound whoever wins that Vancouver-Nashville series. I'm telling you that right now. LA will be a tougher series than the next round. That's a fact. But LA, as I say we own them, I'm not overlooking them. Yes, I'm picking them in 5 because of our star power, because of bringing Corey Perry in, the man who just goes to cup finals. He also has one. Back in the day, he's got one, but he's been to a bunch since, okay? Now, Evander Kane and Janmark right now are a little banged up. They didn't play at the end of the season. I guess they skated today. But, dude, this team, they got Dylan Holloway, who looked phenomenal at the end of the regular season. He can skate like the wind. So if that's a guy that you can get out and get in maybe the third line playing with McLeod and Perry, that's a weapon of a line. If Holloway can really stay in the lineup, I don't know how it's going to work out depending on Kane or Janmark. Now, Oilers fans, I feel like it's a 50-50 split where Leon and Connor have to play together, or no, Leon and Connor can't play together. Now, I would love to see a team, an Oilers team, where they're not having to play together all the time, where you got Leon playing with Nuge, and then you got up top Connor, you got him with Hyman. You could kind of figure out the wingers from there. But this team, guys, for a long time has been dominating this league. They're incredible off the rush. We've talked about the power play for years. Yes, LA Kings, one of the best PKs in the league. I think they finished second. It doesn't matter how good your penalty kill is when you have these 5 players on the ice. That's just how it works. Bouchard's cannon from the top. You got McDavid and Leon going back and forth through people's triangles, just making people dizzy. You got the king of the goals in the crease, Zach Hyman, and then you got Nuge floating around, great disher, nice release. This team is so goddamn good, and there's so many people out there right now who think they'll never win, and their time is now. They're better than they were last year, So is LA. I'll give LA credit. They're a better team than they are last year, but Edmonton's reached a new level. Knobloch came in. They figured out how to play defense. They put in a system. Their star players are willing to sacrifice themselves and their points to play a little bit more defensive style hockey. And when you have Connor McDavid, anything is possible. That's a fact, okay? So we're going to go into Edmonton, and we're going to win the first 2 games, and then we're probably going to lose game 3, and then we're going to win game 4, and then we're going to win it at home game 5. We're going to rest up as Van and Nashville play a long series. This is the year in Edmonton. This is the absolute season. The madness outside the arena. Fucking Jasper. We got White Ave. It's all these different areas in Edmonton crushing pints, wearing their jerseys, honoring Joey Moss, singing the anthem. It's the fucking cup coming back to Edmonton, guys. And you all think I'm crazy. I know you are. I know all you out there
I don't think you're
listening
crazy.
I'm nuts.
Portnoy doesn't either. You got Portnoy on the train as well.
I never said a word to him, but I actually love it because this dude, he can't lose right now. He put in a parlay of Scotty Scheffler when he was 5 shots back in this tournament at Hilton Head, parlayed with the Celtics. That's $120,000 to win $1.3 million. Scotty Scheffler ended up pretty much running away with it. He's got a 5-shot lead going into tomorrow morning. He's got 3 holes left. So then he has the Celtics at basically 12-1. They're plus 150. And he hopped on the Oilers. He was asking me for a team, but I didn't want to give him a team because then he'll just torture me and blame me if they don't win it all. And he took them on his own. That's how hot the Edmonton Oilers are. So I cannot wait for this all to begin. I think that the Kings, if they have a chance, Pierre-Luc Dubois, the dog, needs to do something. Okay?
You just took the only thing I was going to say after you took all the meat left on the bone.
Well, you got LA. You got LA. You got Deneau and Kopitar
No,
and Fiala.
I got
Kempe's
Edmonton
a killer.
5.
Kempe is an Oiler killer. Kempe plays. He's had a great year too.
Well, I got the Oilers in 5. I think it couldn't have been a perfect first-round matchup. The only chicken dicks chance that the Kings have is the last 2 years they've stayed so undisciplined. Like they
were
took
taking
penalty
a ton of
after
penalties.
penalty after penalty where they were just feeding into the Oilers' power play that was running, I think, at 50% after the first round in both years. So just remarkable. But listen, Pierre-Luc Dubois has been hibernating all season long. And the only thing I can remember, probably the best part of his career, was when he had that quote-unquote explosive 2-round playoff when he was playing with the Columbus Blue Jackets. And I feel like we remember that, Pierre-Luc Dubois. Well, if he can get back to playing that game with the third-line matchup that he will have against Edmonton Oilers, that's where they could potentially chew them up. And they got Deneau at the second slot and Kopitar at the first slot, who, if I'm Edmonton, I probably go with the separate the two-headed monster. I probably put McDavid and Draisaitl running their own lines because those guys are going to be hard to go head-to-head with. And as far as the top 9, I would say it's pretty close to even outside the fact that you have the McDavid and Draisaitl factor. Like Arvidsson was a beast last year in playoffs. Like he played. Did you remember his series against the Kings or against the Oilers last year?
Yes.
You said Kempe can fucking roll. So they got guys in that top 9 who could play. The D, outside of Doughty, I don't trust them as much.
I don't know, dude. Their top 4 are good. They got Gavrikov with Roy, and then they got Mikey Anderson and Doughty are good together.
They're good. They're solid. But overall, from a 6 guys, I don't know. I compared to what Oilers have in their top 4, I trust the Oilers D squad more than I do the Kings D squad. Is that do you?
Yes, I do. And what's funny and kind of crazy to me is Kulak and Desharnais have kind of started playing against top lines a lot, right? And then Ekholm's the king. Ekholm is that Swedish monster, the bearded animal. He's out there, he's cross-checking, he's got the cannon from the point. I think he was top 10, if not even top 8 in 5-on-5 points by defensemen this year. And then Bouchard had over 80 points. First defenseman to do that for the Oilers since Paul Coffey. They have all the makings of a cup team, and Skinner's looked real good. So it's a lot of excitement right now, and you're so afraid when your team's like has expectations. It's just like, oh my God, we're getting into this again. The ups and downs, and they also get fucked on the starts of their game. A lot of these games are going to start at like 8:30, 8:40 in Edmonton. So that's kind of a kick in the dick when they have the home game starting that late, but it's all for TV. Maybe even 8:50 some of them are starting in Edmonton, but it doesn't matter. No excuses. The Oilers are here, and the Kings are just in the way right now.
Yeah, both teams are on their second coach of the season. Biz, I want to ask, do you think there's any potential for a little revenge factor with Cam Talbot, the former Oiler? You know, some guys get fired up when they go against an old team.
I think a lot of people are counting him out and have been questioning goaltending for LA all season long. He was an all-star, started out incredible, had the dip after, when McClellan and the whole team was struggling. I think everybody had a dip. And then has regained his confidence slowly in the back half of the season. So, hey, man, he's shown signs of brilliance at times. I just can't trust it going in where he's on an island. I feel like he doesn't have a guy where he can rely on. I feel like Skinner has played better over the course of the whole year. And like I said, I feel like the guys in front of him also help Skinner out as well. So it should be interesting. I have Oilers in 5 just for the simple fact where they're determined and destined to go win a Stanley Cup. Some of the guys in the Kings lineup are on the back half of their career, mainly Doughty and Kopitar, but they do have that young juice. I mean, we didn't even talk about Quentin Byfield as well. So there are game breakers in that Kings lineup.
Yeah, so Byfield did slow down a bunch. I don't think the last 9 or 10 games he might have had a goal and an assist. He slowed down second half of the year, which is understandable. He's still real young. My last 2 things, LA-wise, when Hiller came in as coach to replace Todd McClellan, he put in this 1-3-1 system, so they're a little boring to watch because they just kind of
in the neutral zone?
Like, defensively.
That was something McClellan was already doing.
No,
Are you talking?
I'm talking like forechecking wise, dude.
Yeah, so they typically sit back in the neutral zone.
So they get boring.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They try to lull you to sleep, but it did seem to affect Edmonton the last couple years. The biggest way to beat it is usually the give and go, like a quick bump, and make sure you kind of change up where the puck is going, because like they try to draw you to the wall, and it's hard to get access through the middle in order to gain that speed through the neutral zone. Much how Edmonton likes to play. Well, it hasn't really bothered them the last 2 years. It has made the series a little bit more competitive. I just don't think it's something that Edmonton hasn't seen before.
And Evander Kane's my other thing, because when they went to the Western Conference Finals, they were overmatched completely to Colorado. He had 13 goals in 15 games. Last year, he really did struggle in the playoffs. It sucks he's going in banged up, but I do have a weird feeling that for them to win the Stanley Cup, he'd need to be a big part of it. So hopefully he's able to get going and get some big goals, forecheck hard, throw the body around, be a prick to play against after the whistles, that type of stuff. So we'll see how his health ends up being, if he's able to go and he's able to be, he's not 100%, that's for sure, but if he can make an impact, that's a huge difference for Edmonton.
Yeah, all three of you guys have Edmonton in 5. I have Edmonton in 6. I don't know. LA might squeak another W out of there, but Biz, your Desert Dogs in the news once again. I know we did a big story last week, but it's official. They are definitely going to Utah. They're not going to have a nickname right away. They're going to do sort of like the Washington football team, what the professional women's teams have been doing with just using the city name. I guess they just don't want to rush in a shitty nickname. They want to take their time with it.
I disagree with that.
I actually like the Yetis and having like a big like snow monster guy. You know?
The Utah Yetis.
All right, that's also not 100% confirmed either. They said they're likely going to do that. There's still a chance that they find a team name. It's just, I guess Ryan Smith feels very rushed in this process.
I think you got to have a nickname.
Yeah,
you got to
have a nickname.
You need a fucking exactly. You need a year to come up with a nickname.
So I disagree with you guys where he's getting jammed up, and there's way more other important things to figure out, like who's the training staff going to be? Like, are they bringing back the entire coaching staff and management? Like, setting up your whole department of operations and how you're going to run your organization. I think there's way more important decisions to be made than rushing into a team name. And
you don't think you can do both in the next, 2 months?
I think that from a creative standpoint, sometimes these things shouldn't be rushed. And if they don't have a genuine name that they enjoy and that they could build around from like a mascot perspective, like as dumb and as much as I hate Bowie's guts, I think from a marketing standpoint, the Seattle Kraken did a genius job. Like all everybody talks about from the mascots now, or whether it's Gritty or Bowie, these ugly fucking mutants running around, and the kids love them. So you have to make sure you have a good, catchy name. That's
I
going to be
think they have a
marketable.
lot of that figured out, though, Biz. Like Elliot was saying on 32 Thoughts that they're bringing Turney back. They're bringing Bill Armstrong back. Like they have like a lot of the hockey department.
There's still
already
other
figured out.
stuff to figure out, though. Like
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see it as to be the biggest deal in the world if this team just has Utah. Even if it's what do they normally have for soccer? Utah
HC.
FC. So it would be
FC.
hockey club in this case. Who gives
Yeah.
a shit?
Yeah, I would like to see a nickname personally. We'll see how that plays out. The press conference from this clown
Oh, Morello.
was Morello, correct?
That's what they
Maruello.
were dealing
Maruello,
with for 5 years.
That was the most. If I could have ever been inside Gary Bettman's brain as this guy's like, let me breathe, like he must have been so pissed off, so disgusted with this fool sitting next to him. Like, this idiot can still get back into our league if he gets this arena in the next 5 years. I mean, talk about having no clue. Talk about like not being able to read the room. He just crushed this city, and he's crushed him for quite a while the way he's ran that team. And then he's telling reporters to let him breathe for a minute. The guy is an idiot.
I've never seen anyone get bitched at a press conference like that in my whole life. Gary Bettman just bitched him around the whole time. He grabbed by the arm look, this is what he means. Like, I'll translate for him. It's like he was speaking English, dude. What the fuck you gonna translate for him? It was hilarious. And then he says, was he losing a lot of money? Yeah, you betcha. He was losing a ton. I was like, I thought it was AI at first because I'm like, I never heard Bettman say anything like that before. It was just a comical shit show. And then the guy's like, he tried to make that joke biz off. 5 years, and then 5 years after that, 5 years. And Gary was like looking at him like he wanted to do the Homer Simpson, like fade into the
He
fucking
was
bush.
probably
I've
so
never seen
disgusted he had
more-
to be there.
I've never seen more cringy clips come out of a press conference in my life.
Like the
They
office.
kept coming. I'm like, it was like
And
the
it'd be
fucking,
one thing, Biz, if they
it's
were
like the
coming
Jets
there.
forecheck. Just
If
kept
there's
coming
like a
in
new
waves.
team coming there, you're like, oh, this new owner's kind of cornball, but he's bringing a team to say, no, dude, they're leaving, and you're still making a fool of yourself. I'll say it here now. This is not a crazy take. That man will never own an NHL team
No,
again.
he's done.
Bettman will go to the ends of the earth to make sure that guy doesn't own a team again. So, hilarious clip,
It's
though.
sad day for all the Coyotes fans.
Yeah.
People work for the organization. It sucks to lose a team. I do think they are going to get one back. It's going to take some time, obviously. Probably about 7 years is my guess. But
Six.
yeah. Well, I mean, I was giving it one more year as a buffer, but yeah, just crazy nonsense, and it didn't seem like the sports business was one for the owner. Like, you have to, it's about the people in the sports world. It's not about pinching every penny and keeping season ticket holder deposits when you just made $350 to $400 million profit. So we
It's
can
true,
move on.
Biz.
I think we've covered
like
it a
it's
lot
always
over
like owners of sports teams, it's their hobby, dude. Like it's never about for the most part. I mean, obviously there's examples around in every league, but you're so rich. You're like, yeah, this is my hobby. I own this team. I'm going to try to win a title. I'm going to spend money here, spend money there. It doesn't work when you're looking at it the way they were. So that's a good point.
The good news is they're getting an amazing owner in Ryan Smith. He's been first class. He flew down to Arizona to go golf with the guys and meet with their families and kind of, explain to them that's going to be a smooth transition and that he cares about them, and it's going to be a way different situation as far as the way that ownership is treating the people on board than it was in the past. So he will be coming on the podcast at some point. He wants to talk with us and talk about his forward thinking and how he plans on to grow the NHL in Utah. And I talked to him on the phone personally, guys. People are so focused on this, it's leaving a market that has 5 million people. And obviously population is a huge component to TV ratings and a lot of things that go into these markets and how they're sustainable financially. But they got 1.2 million people in that market, and they show up in droves and support the community. And when it comes to basketball, apparently he told me they draw better than the Phoenix Suns. So it's all about community support, not necessarily the overall high-end numbers. So interested to see, and I want to say they already had over 11,000 deposits on season tickets since they announced it on the opening day there. So kudos to them, and excited to see hockey work in Utah.
And Biz, there's already cities and metropolitan areas out there that are smaller than Salt Lake City that work. I mean, Raleigh's got to be way smaller than Salt Lake City, right? They're pretty
Bingo.
successful. So
It's about community support and how you're running your team and how fun you're making it. So a perfect example, RA, would be the Carolina Hurricanes.
Yeah, keep your eye out, man. I think, what are they, the Honeybee State or the Beehive State? I would like to see like a bee logo, like Georgia Tech with signing a sting. Those are pretty cool logos when you get an insect with a stinger on them. That could work. See what happens. I mean, it beats the shit out of fucking.
They're known for their
jacket.
bees there.
They're the Beehive State. Yeah, that's the name in it. So I think it's actually on the state flag as well. Yeah. So
never knew
keep
that.
an eye
Well,
on that.
all right, you named the Vegas Golden Knights mascot. You should be naming their mascot.
Yeah. All right, we'll get on that. Buzz. Billy's buzzing off. How about one more thing? Shane Doan, his retirement banner. Somebody left that at Gila River Arena. Like that is how the hell does that happen? That's just a huge insult. I know we don't have to dive into it. It's like we're not the Hardy Boys over here, but just a huge insult. The fact that
I
someone
loved how
just
the
took
guy
that.
gave it back to him, though. That was cool.
Yeah, it was. It was a
Awesome
good gesture, but should have never happened in the first place. Anyways, moving right along here, we got to give a little kudos. Nikita Kucherov, Connor McDavid joined a very exclusive club, the fourth and fifth players in NHL history to put up 100 assists in a season. Kuch also became just the third player ever to score 40 goals and have 100 assists in the same season. You only got two guys to do that, Mario and Wayne. This season, too, Biz, I know we talked how great the season's been. 9 players with at least 100 points, 350 goal scorers, 160 goal scorer, 33 players average at least a point a game. So offense is going up. Great stuff. Great time to be a fan of the NHL.
Yeah, bravo. Congrats to those two guys. I feel like we've beaten that drum a ton. Give them a few more flowers, and let's keep it moving. Playoff time, baby.
They made it official, so we got to get a little stroke off there. Marc-Andre Fleury, your old teammate, the Flower, he's going to be back for one last season, his 21st. He signed a one-year deal with Minnesota for $2.5 million, includes a no-move clause. He passed Patrick Waugh's 551s last year to take over second place. I do not think he's going to catch Marty Brodeur at 691, but 21 more games, he'll pass Waugh and Longo for second all-time in games played by a goalie. Whit, did you want to chime in there, buddy?
I just love that Billy Guerin said, like I told him, you're not ready to be done yet. Billy G was like, you still got too much to give. You're still too good to shut it down. And I think he loves Minnesota. He's been very open about not wanting to be traded this year. His family's comfortable this year, and it in that city. Sorry, and now it makes a very special next season. Right, his last game in Pittsburgh, his last game in Montreal, which I don't even think he played this year. Correct? Weren't we talking about how they didn't even start him that game and what was going to be his last game in Montreal? It's a great thing that he's still in the league. The prank videos, the different press conferences, the soft-spoken Flower with the thick French accent. I love that he's coming back, and I love that Billy G was like, "You're not. We need you one more year. You still got too much in the tank." So it's a cool story.
Based on what he's done for the league, I hope he gets a nice stop at those places you mentioned. Make sure
he will.
At the Bell Center, there's a beautiful presentation for him, as well as Pittsburgh. Fuck, he should get one everywhere around the league, just like Derek Jeter got on the way out.
Yeah, the farewell tour. I think David Ortiz had something similar to that, too.
His last season, practical jokes, he's going to be like the fucking Joker with the stuff he's going to be pulling off this.
Duhaime on Colorado is probably like, fuck. He put his car on. He took the tires off his car and put a flower bed on it the other day. So he's going to get him again.
Fucking dirt in the grave. Jeff Carter hangs him off after 19 seasons. Played with Philly, Columbus, L.A., and Pittsburgh. Pair of Stanley Cups, obviously with L.A. 851 points in 1,321 regular season games. Had another 84 points in 133 playoff games. Also played the 2010 Stanley Cup. And just an awesome scene. We're seeing this a little bit more. I think it's just indicative of the respect, guys. The Islanders all lined up after and, dapped him up and shook his hand. Just, we love the sport. It was just such a classy move by the Islanders. And I'm not sure I've seen that like in the last few years, Biz. Have you noticed that other than referees and linesmen?
Not sure, but what a weapon this guy is. He got it all. Good-looking guy. He's tall, handsome, fucking huge rope, $100 million in the bank. What he played with playoff games, he played close to 1,500 games, over 800 points. Played in how many playoff games? I think he's played 150 playoff games, 2 Stanley Cups. He's won a gold medal at the Olympics. It's just 11 20-goal seasons. I think he's got 4 30-goal seasons. So he did it all, and being the ultimate team guy too. Beloved by his teammates. I'm happy he got to end it in Pittsburgh where he had a great time. Much like kind of how you just described Flower and how he loves it there. he said the minute that he got to Pittsburgh, they embraced him with open arms, and he felt right at home. And that's not always easy, especially in the back part of your career. So a true legend of the game. I was fortunate enough where I got to play under 17 with him for Team Ontario, and he was a stud then, and you knew he was going to go on to do bigger and better things. And after being a first-round draft pick with the Flyers and it not working out there, quick stop in Columbus, kind of like Quickie. Same kind of timeline.
Not
and
that quick, but yeah, it was quick.
And then it was off to LA to do all of his damage, where we really remember him for.
The first time I saw him was lockout year. The Phantoms, Philadelphia Phantoms, the Flyers AHL team. They were a good team, and then they grabbed Richardson Carter after their OHL seasons. We played him in the second round. They were both incredible. They ended up winning the Calder Cup, so he also has a Calder Cup. They went on this amazing run. I was like, who is this guy? He was so fast, dude. In his heyday, he was so tall, and he had this long stride. He flew. He could shoot it coming down the way. He could score any different way. And then it was kind of brutal for him. I mean, they decided to move on from Richards and Carter. Richards went to L.A. Carter went to Columbus. He's just like, oh, that was when Columbus didn't have much going. He didn't like it there, and L.A. brought him in, knowing that he might be a piece that they'd need, and it certainly was, because he goes on to get the Stanley Cups, plays a huge role there. And I don't know him personally, but he was a part of the greatest draft in the history of the NHL, the Paul Bissonnette 2003 NHL draft. So he's one of those superstar 85 birth years. There's a bunch of them around, and they've all started to retire. Corey Perry's another one still going, and congrats to him on an amazing run.
Yeah, another retirement to announce. Czech goalie Pavel Francouz. He went 6-0 during Colorado's Cup run a couple of years ago. He announced his retirement on Saturday. He was affectionately known as Frankie to his fans. He was an undrafted free agent when Joe Sakic signed him a month before he turned 28 years old. Played 73 games over 4 seasons, 44, 21, and 6. Had a great little career. I know he wasn't in North America a long time, but won a Stanley Cup, 6-0 in a cup run. So, like we say, always like to acknowledge guys when they finish their NHL career. So enjoy your retirement, Frankie. You guys know him at all? You ever meet him? Run into him at all? Biz?
No.
No? No, I did actually. Well, we were out there a couple of years ago. I ended up going to a Czech bar. I don't even know who it was with, and his whole family was there after he won that game that we were at, game 2 with Colorado that night. So ended up getting drunk with his family at a Czech bar. So
Shocker.
shout out Frankie.
Shocker. How
Shocker.
you end up in that one?
Big deal. Marty St. Louis not going anywhere. No surprise there. The Habs exercised their option on him. He'll be in Montreal for at least another 3 seasons. He's been behind the bench for the last 2.5 years. So,
I love this.
Yeah.
And I was one of the guys, I sent a tweet out about Slavkovsky, and he turned everything around. 50 points, I think, 20 goals. He looked great at the end of the year. Suzuki had an awesome season. The young guys are getting better under St. Louis. Now I think that they'll start seeing a little bit more pressure from the media. That's probably, with Toronto and Vancouver, the toughest market to play in. They're going to start getting a little anxious after this rebuild's been happening. Get another higher draft pick this year. Lane Hudson came in, played the 2 games against Detroit. What I tell you guys, he looked phenomenal. He was flying around. So they got that guy coming in next year. They got that Reinbacher they picked, high draft pick last season, defenseman. So there's a chance that things could get pretty good, pretty quick for Montreal. Love St. Louis there. And it's an exciting time if you're a Habs fan, because there's been some days of darkness, and you're at least seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. And St. Louis is the guy. I think he's perfect to continue to have this team grow and learn to be pros. So it's awesome. They're a fun team to watch. And we should mention those last 2 games against Detroit. What an amazing 2 nights of hockey. Detroit ended up getting fucked over. They tied it up. Oh, my God. Perron scores with 3 seconds left. Their playoff hopes are still alive. And boom, Washington ends up getting it done. And Philly had pulled the goalie, so Washington actually locked it up with an empty net goal. But good effort by Detroit. Disappointed not end the season. But you got
disappointing for all of us.
I
I'd
know,
much rather
holy
see.
shit.
Imagine watching Detroit right now with Patty Kane going against the New York Rangers.
I know.
That would be a playoff series, not the fucking Hershey Bears in the mix. Going back to your 2003 draft class thing, there are 4 guys who are still currently playing in the NHL who were drafted in the first round of that draft. Can you name them?
Holy shit. So you
We
got
just-
Perry.
we just-
You got
Corey
Fleury.
Perry.
You got Fleury.
Yeah,
You got Perry.
yeah.
Pavelski wasn't that
Pavelski.
draft.
Oh.
He wasn't that draft. Oh my God, this is gonna bug me, dude. Can you give me the I wouldn't even get the conferences. Give me the teams.
That's a clue.
Brent Burns.
Burnsy.
Bernsey was a first-round draft pick to the Minnesota Wild. He was drafted, I want to say he was drafted as a D-man, then switched to forward, and then was back to D. Showed up to the draft with a short-sleeve dress shirt. And the other guy,
Give me the team.
He was drafted by Nashville.
Ryan Suter.
Ryan Suter, still
Wow.
going.
Call.
Unbelievable.
Wow.
If you go down the list of, I'd be curious to know what draft, NHL draft, it's obviously a little different now because there's more teams, had the most games played out of guys drafted in the first round.
It has to be that. There's like 12 guys with 1,000 games, isn't there? If not
It's
more.
remarkable. It is remarkable. So I know I'm biased because I went in the fourth round of that draft, and that's my claim to fame. But it is the deepest draft of all time.
And Nathan Horton got screwed by injuries, right?
Yep.
He was
Oh,
right
yeah.
there.
He would have gotten there.
Eric Stahl. Oh my God, what a we've said this a million times. Just if you're a hockey fan, go look at that draft, and then you got Bergeron in the second round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shea Weber. All the guys.
Crazy.
Some other coaching news, not as happy as the last one. Sabres fired head coach Don Granato after 3+ seasons, a record of 122, 125, and 27. They also fired assistant coach Jason Christie and video coordinator Matt Smith. The last time Buffalo's in the playoffs, 2011. It's a 13-season drought. It's a league record. They're going on their 8th coach in the last 12 years. 20 NHL teams have played at least 50 playoff games since the Sabres last played one.
50?
30 teams. Yeah. No, 20 NHL teams have played, at least 50 games since the Sabres last played one. 30 teams have played 25 playoff games in that span. The only other one who hasn't is the expansion Kraken, of course. They just got here. They played 14. So, we feel bad for Buffalo fans, man. We're not trying to kick them down, but it's news. We want to report it. Whit, if you were going to hire somebody for Buffalo, who would you hire?
David Carl. Recency bias. But that would be a guy that you chuck a bunch of money at him, and it's not a team where you're like, oh my God, like San Jose, you kind of knew. I think David Quinn might have known going there this could get kind of ugly, like with this roster. But Buffalo's got some players and some prospects. But bring in somebody, it doesn't matter who, that will stress defensive structure and not
Berube.
giving up chance after who?
Berube, I think,
so
would be
that's
great.
that's the other argument is like, do you bring in like a Joel Quenneville if he gets reinstated, or a Craig Berube? Because you have to have somebody in there with Stanley Cup experience that the players are going to respect, even if he's being hard on them. There's going to be some uncomfortable situations on getting this team where they need to be and molding these stars that they have on their team currently, and then the guys coming in to start playing a structured system that they can rely on that can be dependent over the course of 82 games. Hey, going back to last year, it was fun to watch Tage Thompson light the lamp and score as many goals as he scored, and watch all these other high-flying offensive players like Dahlin. But they need to learn how to play from a 5-man unit perspective on the ice. They also, and a little bit of pressure on Kevin Adams moving forward. He took responsibility partly as well. I don't think he refueled them this offseason coming into this year in preparation to have maybe a little bit more sandpaper and guys who could fit in certain roles in order to help them win hockey games. That's going to be the move next year. Another thing is, too, you always talk about, the future's bright. We got all these skilled players and prospects. You're going to have to decide who you're going to move off of. Who are the guys that you're going to want to eventually go to war with, and who are the guys where it's like, we got a lot of these types of one-dimensional skill players. We don't need too much of this.
Let's find a Lowry or a Dakota Joshua.
Bingo. Or start fucking developing them. Not always the same bullshit.
Biz, unreal point there, because Dylan Cousins in his end of the year press conference actually made a point that they need to feel more uncomfortable, kind of like you just said. They need someone that can come in there and push their buttons. Basically, and Elliot and Jeff were talking about this, basically calling Don Granato soft. He said basically he wasn't pushing their buttons enough, which I think that's to your point. They need someone like a Joel Quenneville, like a Craig Berube, someone with experience, Stanley Cup experiences to get in there and push their buttons a bit.
Yeah, and I mean, he just seems like a player's coach and an easy guy to get along with, and he's not like a big in-your-face type of coach. And if it's not in him, then, hey, not every coach coaches the same. Like, look at how John Cooper does it. He does it a little bit more methodically, where he gets them thinking, and he's a good motivator. So I don't think he was the right fit there anymore. If they would have ran him back one more year, I would have been interested to see on maybe the adjustments that he made on how he was interacting with his players. But ultimately, you don't want to be too buddy-buddy. You just want to have their respect. And that's what they're going to need. They're going to need a guy behind the bench where when push comes to shove, he's getting what he wants and his systems are being implemented and they're not fucking the dog offensively.
Or you're not playing.
I got a name to keep your eye on, Biz, or your ear on. Dean Evison, former Minnesota coach.
Yeah.
Would you hear something, R.A.?
I might have a little something on the campfire.
Ooh, rumor boy.
Yeah, pull that out of the sky. Like fucking. Yeah, no, Dean Evison. Yeah, that's definitely a name I would say keep an eye or an ear on for the next Buffalo Sabres coach. Leave it at that. Winter Classic for the first time. It's not going to be on New Year's Day, boys. We're going on to Wrigley in December now because it's going to be on New Year's Eve. They're expanding the college football playoff. I think some of the games are going to be on TNT, correct, Biz? So they're going to have the Winter Classic at 5 o'clock at Wrigley Field New Year's Eve. I don't know.
It's going to be on a Tuesday. I actually enjoy that better because I want to get out of the game, see the ball drop, and and that's good for me. I don't go the distance on those nights anyway, so just a little bit of entertainment, and it's going to be a good time. We're more than likely going to do a live show there, so now we just have to figure out what day we're going to get there a little bit early. Hopefully, we could do something at the sports book, the DraftKings sports book that's now in Wrigleyville. So yeah, look to see all the plans that we set up for that awesome trip. And like I said, the game's going to be on a Tuesday, so we probably end up getting there on Saturday and or Sunday for that live show. And the last time we tried to throw one there, there was no sound.
Yeah.
So we owe it to the city of Chicago to bring a live show, and we'll bring some heavy hitter guests just like we did in Toronto at the All-Star game.
Absolutely. We're about to wrap up here, but we did have a very special weekend when I'm going to send it over to you, the FDNY NYPD 50th anniversary game, a special day. You were between the benches, Whit. Take it away.
Yeah, I've just grown to love this event, and it means so much to the people there, not only just to the people playing in the game, but the fans and the families. And we met families that came in from Michigan. They come in from all over to get to see their cousin or their uncle or their brother play in a game in front of 20,000, 18,000 people, where these guys will do anything to win. It is their Super Bowl. We went over it last year. And this year, I think it was a little more special and obviously a little tougher because of what had happened so recent with Officer Jonathan Diller, who was killed in the line of duty. And there were people who knew him. And then we found out he was a Chiclets fan. He was a diehard Islanders fan. He loved the Isles. And so just to be a part of this game that was so close to his death, it meant so much. And that's why Dave Portnoy had come, who raised all this money and then matched all the money raised to give to Officer Diller's wife and his 1-year-old son. And there was a video of Dave in the locker room. He even came up on the pregame show and mentioned it was one of the hardest things he's ever done, one of the most emotional things he's ever done, just because seeing this little baby and his wife, it's just so difficult to imagine this kid not growing up with his dad. And for us to get to be there, it's a lot of fun. And I think the guys appreciate it too. I talked to the coaches after. Coach Wakey of the police, he just thanked us so much for being a part of it. It makes it a little more special for the guys. You see some of the clips on Instagram, and these guys, it's playing hockey. It's what they love to do. It's what they grew up doing. And you forget that most men's league hockey players, they're a plumber, electrician, they're a lawyer. It doesn't really matter. These guys, when they're going to work, they're putting their life on the line, and it can happen any day where the worst imaginable scenario can go down, which is what happened to Officer Diller. And that's why these guys get this moment of having this game. And for us to get to be there and see what it means to them and see before the game these guys getting ready to play, it's the same exact way a team would be getting ready to play a Stanley Cup playoff game, because that's what it is to them. So I got to come again and be in between the benches. I took a puck off the wrist. It missed my dong by about 2 inches. Thank God my dong is 2 inches. And then a puck came over the glass another time. It buried Granelli in the shoulder. It could have knocked him out. So we had some action going on right between the benches, but it was a phenomenal game. The fire, and here's the thing. I was talking to some police officers, and it sucks to say, but not a lot of people want to be a police officer in this day and age. And you got so many people out there who can't stand cops. It's like, and a lot of these people be the first first people to call 911 if they need help. So it's crazy to me. And I've said before, there are bad apples everywhere. There's bad guys and bad women who are police officers, but a very, very high percentage of them are amazing people that are willing to risk their life for you and for strangers. And so right now, right, it's hard for these guys to get some younger kids coming into the police force and going into the academy and then making their team a little bit better. Whereas I think being a firefighter, yes, any single day you can go to a fire and not return, scary as much as that is to say. But there's a lot of people that are willing to be firefighters and want to be firefighters. So you're getting these young, talented kids that are coming on after maybe serving in the military, and that's an easier way to get on a lot of big city fire forces, fire departments nowadays, is to be a veteran. So they're getting better and better and better. And the police, they got some good players that are getting older, and they're not getting as much in. It was good this year to see the police added a young buck. It was a rookie in the game. Olsen was his name. He was flying around. He was in the mix. He jumped into a pile when his feet went over his head. There was action. There were some fights, physicality. Brian Yandel came and joined us, one of my closest friends from the Rink Shrinks.
The best.
He's a Boston police officer, and so he plays for the Boston PD team. And he said recently that they played the New York Police Department. He had shown up. He had his kids practice. He's on the phone walking into the rink. He's like 10 minutes before they're going on the ice, 15 minutes before. And all the New York guys, they're foam rolling. They're doing the dynamic warm-up. He was like, holy shit, we're in one. They're chipping the pucks in. They're running guys over. They're all wearing shoulder pads. But this game's physical. It's great to be a part of. We had the pregame show. Jeff D. Lowe was nice enough to host. Biz, you were awesome. We zoomed in with you from Atlanta. It was great to get you on there. And it was just a blast, dude. The Fire got out to a 4-0 lead. Then they were up 6-2. All of a sudden, it's 6-5, which was the score last year. It ended up 8-5. It's 6-5 with a minute left. Police had a chance. And so it was too little, too late. And I don't know when they're going to get a win again. It's hard. The Fire has that kid Zay and Lopes, and then they added this other kid, Pascali, I think it was. We were told, Biz, he's one of the best roller hockey players in the world. He plays for Team USA. He's their stud.
Let's get him out to a Chiclets Cup.
Buddy, that's what we said. This kid dangled. Like sick one-on-one moves.
You guys crushed the broadcast as always. Obviously, it sucked I couldn't be there. I love doing the calls, right? It's what I did for the Coyotes. Army hopped in, did a great job. Merles was involved in the broadcast. So just it sucked that I couldn't be around all those amazing people, including our own Whack Pack. And just from the bottom of my heart, it takes a long time for all you guys to set this up. G, you included, RA, Witt, and all the other amazing people on the Barstool side behind the scenes. So I just want to thank you guys for all your attention to detail and putting on an awesome 50th anniversary FDNY NYPD hockey game, and I hope we get to do it moving forward.
And how about that Selly from the Fire team breaking in the door? I mean, 1 million views instantly on Instagram. Like, that's an all-time celebration for a goal.
Yeah, and nobody can do it. You got to be a firefighter to do that, Selly, which makes it even better. But, dude, the pregame ceremony, which was hard at the 49th because they go over. Buddy, one thing that hit me hard was they saved at the end for Officer Diller, and then there was a woman who was murdered, actually. I think she was a fire captain. I don't remember. It was a horrible story. They saved them, too, for the end. But they listed off the names of New York Police Department, New York police officers, and New York firefighters that passed away this past year, all from 9/11, and the cancer they've gotten and what they dealt with. It, buddy, there was like close to 40 names on both, and I mean that's 23 fucking years ago, and those people went into those buildings, and all those people passed away that day, and now it's what they were breathing in the recovery, looking for friends and bodies. And it's like, oh, my God, 23 years later, they're listing off that many people from both departments. And then the bagpipes came out. They played Amazing Grace after. And it's hard not to get a little emotional sitting there during that moment. And you could tell all the fans, the moment of silence, extra long. Nobody said a fucking peep. And it was just an amazing experience. I'll do that every year as long as we can. It's an absolute blast, and it's an honor to be a part of.
Hey, boys, couple clicks for the NYPD and FDNY. We love you guys. You guys rock. Thank you.
All police officers and firefighters out there. I know a lot of police officers, you don't feel a ton of support these days, but there's a lot more people than you think. The what do they call it? The silent majority. that respect what you guys do. So I say thank you to everyone I meet. Thank you for your service and what you do to help. Same to the firefighters and all you New York guys. Thanks for putting on a show again. We appreciate it.
Bravo.
And quick shout out to everyone that helped put on this broadcast. Frank Heel, Tom Reno, everyone on the FDNY team, everyone on the NYPD team, Lisa Litvak, Mike Rosenblum for producing it, and like Whit said, all the first responders across America who put their lives on the line every day.
Hear, hear.
All right, so guys, we will be back to you Wednesday at noon, our first live on the internet show. So we'll have some chat stuff going. I know Biz's crazy brain is already like, I can't be looking at the chat the whole time. I can't think at the chat, look at the chat, know what I'm going to say. So maybe Grinnell will be in charge of the chat. I'll be trying to keep a look at it. But it's nice because it's 2:12 in the morning right now. It's great to bring you guys the up-to-date stuff in the playoffs. But Wednesday at noon is going to be a good show, and then it'll release right away as a podcast, and we can't wait to bring it to you. And then Friday at 11 or 12, we'll have game notes. So we got you covered 3 days a week.
Starts going out.
I was about to put on my movie for the night. Hockey's over. Put on Thief for the 900th time. All right, everybody. We love you. Have a great week. See you Wednesday.